Yes, sir, we got all the latest things. Gas lamps, a telephone, and the latest design in cast iron stoves.
Oh, boy, the studio backstage tour.
Ladies and gentlemen, direct from a record-breaking 2 million years at the bottom of the evolutionary ladder, let's hear it for the Tumble Monkeys!
What are you hanging around for? Let's go have some fun!
WDW Radio, your information station.
Hello, my friend. Happy New Year, and welcome to the WDW Radio Show, your Walt Disney World information station. I am your host, Lou Mangello, and this is show number 540, and I'm here once again not only to help you have the best vacation experience when you go to the Disney parks, but I also want to bring you a little bit of that Disney magic wherever you are, not just with the podcast, but with my live video broadcasts on Facebook every Wednesday night, books, blog, audio tours, special events, and more. You can find everything over at WDWRadio.com. So they say that time flies when you're having fun, and it must be true, because I can't believe that 2018 has come and gone. But along the way, we were making memories and had fun, and a lot of it. In Walt Disney World, Disneyland, the international Disney parks, at sea on the Disney Cruise Line, and in the movies as well. And so this week, we're going to gather around the table and eat and reflect back on the 2018 Disney year that was, as we look at what was new, what was announced, what we lost, what we did, what we loved, and what and who we lost along the way. Of course, I'm going to ask you to share your memories of 2018 as well. I'll then have the answer to our last Walt Disney World trivia question of the week, and I'll pose a new challenge for your chance to win a Disney Prize package. Then stay tuned to the end of the show. I'll have more information about upcoming WDW Radio events, our next Meet of the Month over Marathon Weekend, your comments, voicemails, and more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of the WDW Radio Show. Ah, 2018. As a wise man, or bear, once said, we didn't realize we were making memories, we just knew we were having fun. It comes from one of my favorite Disney characters, not just because I love the story and because he's soft and cuddly, but because we shop at the same short and fluffy stores, Winnie the Pooh. And I think that's very true, not just for the past year, but for me in this Disney World for the past almost 15 years. Wow, since my first book was published. And time really does fly when you are having fun. And oh, the fun we had in 2018. I always say that it is a good time to be a Disney fan, and 2018 was certainly no exception in the world, in the land, on sea, in the skies, and most importantly, together. And I unlocked level 50 this year, and as time passes, thank you, Becky Mankin, for the shirt. As time passes, I start looking back as much as I keep my eyes focused on what is ahead, not just in my life, but in this Disney World. Because there has, of course, once again been additions and changes and announcements and surprises and new menu items. Yay! And of course, with change often comes some loss. Insert sad emoji. So this week we're going to gather around the table once again and reflect back on all that's happened over the course of the past year in and around Disney. And of course I cannot, will not, and really should not do this on my own. So I invited some friends and members of the nation and a bit of royalty to join as we reflect back on 2018. And of course, my dad raised me right. I believe in ladies first. So I want to welcome, of course, Becky Mankin from MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. Not just my partner, but my friend.
Aw, again, you started out so nice, but that was a 50-50 shot on which direction you were going to go there.
This is the new and improved Lou. I'm turning a page for 2019.
Oh my gosh, you saying like from right now all through 2019, you're going to be a whole new you?
You be careful what you wish for. Also, back on the show, and I think you were here for last year's 2017. Wow, it seems like yesterday. 2017 recap show. Lisa Donato-Glassner from thecastlerun.com.
Hey guys, it's good to be back again. And I should look at the 2018 Look Ahead show. I should have done that.
That actually would have been a good idea. We all would have done that. And around the table once again, this time not with really food in front of us. Well, a little bit. We had a little nosh this morning and a coffee. It's nice. We're sitting outside the boardwalk. Is my friend John Sakari. He is, of course, the Big Fat Panda.com.
Yeah, there is a little bit of food, and I come because of the promise of food. No, I actually love being here. Thank you very much.
And we timed it just right, so we get a little breakfast nosh, maybe a little lunch nosh. Becky will have a cocktail. Everybody will be happy.
Oh, there's a cocktail involved?
There could be.
Awesome, okay.
There could be. So what I want to do as we look back on 2018 is try not to go chronologically, but I think I want to sort of break it down by different topic areas. But as we did last year, I want to start off with a very quick little lightning round, because as you look back to 2018, I want you to think of what your most vivid memory, what's that first thing that comes to mind in sort of this Disney world and universe. John, you look most confused, so I'm going to go to you first.
No, it's got to be the creation of Toy Story Land. Watching it come up and, looking forward to Star Wars, Galaxy's Edge, that's the big thing for me, I think.
So I ran my first Dopey in 2018, so that's my personal first. But for me, this was the year of the After Hours event. We'll talk about that more, but that's just over and over again the thing that jumps out at me as being the special thing about this year.
And I gave you the most time to think.
Oh, it was actually pretty easy. It popped in my head pretty quickly. Walt's office. I think being able to visit Walt's office when we were on the Backstage Magic, which I'm sure we'll talk about as well, that is definitely a standout for the year.
Yeah, that is right, because when I did that, we didn't visit the office. We saw it, but you didn't go in it.
Because you didn't go with us.
See that? Membership has its benefits
Yes,
when we
does.
travel. Wait till we start announcing some of the stuff that we've been talking about, too. I don't know what those things are, but yeah, and I think as when we're done going through this, we'll talk about and sort of keep in your mind some of the biggest additions and biggest losses and favorites of a couple of different topic areas. But I want to sort of do a 30,000-foot Walt Disney World view first, and then we'll sort of drill our way down. I think on a grand scale, again, not working chronologically, but it did all start with a mouse. This was Mickey Mouse's 90th birthday, anniversary, whatever you want to call it. And I love the fact that it wasn't just celebrated in places like D23, but really celebrated in the parks. Merchandise, shocker. There was a TV spectacular. There was the New York exhibit, Mickey, the True Original Exhibition, which ran in it was like a 17,000 foot space in Manhattan with a lot of contemporary art creations. Mickey's 90th, was that something that was ever on your radar? Was it something that you're a merch person? As I look down at your brand new bag, was the merch or any of the events that they had here something that was ever on your radar?
I mean, I just like seeing it celebrated. I like seeing all the old school Mickey pins and all that good stuff. I'm not one to tackle that kind of merch, but no, I mean, I think 90 is a big one. I think 100 will be a whole lot bigger.
That's what I think about the 100th. But you really couldn't escape it. If you were at the parks or at Destination D, you knew it was his 90th birthday.
Yeah. So, and they did some things at the parks too, and like Good Morning America was here, and they had some merch and parades and his new outfits, and again, a lot of new merchandise to go along with it.
Yeah, and also the one that stood out to me was the gift card. Did you see the Mickey's gift card? The Swarovski's crystals. That obviously you can't run it through a scanner. It has a special code on the back that they have to put in to use your gift card. But it was kind of impressive, I have to say.
How many do you have?
None. I did not buy any of them. Christmas gifts still.
I would say if you're looking for a gift for Becky for the new year, it's there. So again, I think something I wanted to mention, because I don't think it gets a lot of PR publicity because it's not super sexy, but Disney has continued for really decades, since the very beginning, has very much had an eye on environmentality, and so they are really doing a lot to continue to go green. So they're continuing on a push to help all the parks worldwide focus on some clean energy solutions. Where here in Walt Disney World, they built a new massive, or continue being built, a massive solar energy farm, which is going to create enough clean energy power to power 2 of the theme parks. And 25% of Walt... Don't look at me so surprised, John Sakari. It's true. I'm reading it right here. 25% of Walt Disney World needs overall. They've also started eliminating plastics. We actually see that this morning, eliminating plastics throughout the resort, including straws, lids, and plastic shopping bags, hoping to eliminate them completely by 2019. And as, Becky, we've seen in the overseas park, World of Disney has already started offering reusable Mickey bags for shoppers. You pay 10, 15, 25 cents, whatever it is. Even the international parks now are not only doing that in terms of the plastics and the recyclables, but Disneyland Paris is getting a solar energy plant, which is going to power 15% of the resort there. So when you start to go by Epcot and you see those solar energy farms, and even some of the areas a little bit farther backstage on property, you can see a lot of those things being built. And when you see the numbers, like 25%, like that's a lot. Like that's a significant, improvement in terms of energy. Change is good, says Rafiki from The Lion King. Sometimes change, is tough. Obviously, the price changes continue as they do every year in Walt Disney World. A couple times this year in 2018. They also launched a new date-based ticketing system. So in October, they launched a new website which showed ticket prices based on when guests arrive, meaning that some days are going to be more or less expensive than others. Obviously, I think as Star Wars Galaxy's Edge opens, I think the date-based ticket pricing is going to become much more impactful. But what I think it does too, and from a travel planning perspective, is it allows guests to sort of, especially if they're budget conscious, to look at the dates and plan accordingly, based on what their budget is. Yeah, there definitely is some opportunities to save money if you're flexible in your dates. So you can look at that calendar. You can look at what days you can use in the parks and pick the days in the parks so that you're not running into that one-size-fits-all price for a ticket. So it has been somewhat controversial, obviously, but I think in the long run it's going to be better for those who are a little bit more budget conscious. Something else in terms of price changes is, again, much to the dismay of the social media world. In March, Disney announced that overnight hotel guests were going to start paying for parking as well. I think unless you're a UK visitor, I think you didn't have to pay. But this was one that was very interesting because there was a lot of controversy about it, even though this is the norm in resorts throughout the world. And I think what it's also trying to do, especially with the introduction of more buses, new bus routes, the minivan system, which a lot of us have used and really, really enjoy, is try and quash some of the parking crowding that we find. And look, we as locals, we very much see that, how difficult it is to go to a resort and park because you want to even eat there sometimes without a reservation. So I get why it was done. Any thoughts in terms of...
I was always happy that Disney was the one place where you didn't get those fees and charges, so I am, disappointed. I think I saw it coming. I think we all saw it coming. So, and yeah, it does. Like if you go to like Gaylord Palms or something, you're already getting it everywhere else, so I get it.
Right, it's the norm.
Yeah, it's just again, it's to the norm of the service standard that happens in most hotels around the world. And if you go to New York, you're going to pay $75 just to park your car with a valet. But from a local perspective, yeah, I can see it. But they are rolling out so many new ways of getting around. And, of course, Skyliner is coming, too, from some of these resorts. Like you said, the minivan services, the buses are there's more of those coming along. So from a traveler perspective, unless you really have to have a rental car, which you really don't need to anyway, this doesn't impact you at all.
Yeah. And when we start looking forward to 2019 and the buckets that we obviously see coming, we're going to see how that's going to change, too. The buckets, the Skyway buckets, yeah.
I'm not going to call it anything but that.
Something else that I think did not get a lot of attention, but I think that it should, because when we talk about pricing and people get upset, is obviously times change and inflation change and prices go up, is what Walt Disney World did for their cast members. Back in January, they announced that the cast members were going to receive a $1,000 cash bonus, and the company launched a $50 million higher education program, which, to sort of summarize, if you, as a full or part-time non-executive cast member, want to go to school, Disney is not only going to give you that cash bonus, but they're also going to utilize the program to pursue higher educational or vocational training, including things that are unrelated to what they do here. So if you want to go back and get your degree in something that you're not doing here, Disney's providing up to, I think they're initially investing $50 million with an additional $25 million, so a total allocation of $175. I mean, that's not a small amount. It's $175 million, and I've spoken to a lot of cast members that couldn't afford to go back to school otherwise. So when we think about, the cast members or the price increases, we should take note of some of the things that are being done to help them as well.
Well, like we've always said, Disney, it couldn't really be Disney without its cast. And it's smart on their part to retain those people and to educate them and help them move on into the company. Or if they want to move outside of the company, I like that they've given that flexibility. But what an amazing thing for them to do for the cast to hopefully retain them and just keep them moving forward within the company and keep them around.
Yeah, and even though, like you said, it may be unrelated to what Disney does here, education is education. Still, by bettering their cast, they're bettering the guest experience by educating the people. Yeah, it's great.
So I'll just quickly go through a couple of other things. Raise your hand, yell out, stop me if you would like to interject something. We mentioned quickly the Skyliner. As we were driving in today, you see that not only are the towers up and the stations erected, but the cable is being drawn, and you see some of the test weight buckets are being sort of moved across. I think as we start to look at our 2019 Looking Ahead show, we'll talk more about the Skyliner, the impact. Don't
say Skyliner and impact in the same.
No, you know what I mean. I mean impact, the guest experience impact. For us as locals, is it going to be a conveyance or is it going to be an attraction? Like, I want to just ride it for the sake of riding it. Something I got to try earlier in the year, foot golf is now available at Disney's Oak Trail Golf Course.
Still don't get foot.
Which combines what is foot. So basically, Disney said, how can we find the two of the many sports that Lou Mangello really stinks at, and we'll combine them into one. So it's golf and soccer. So you actually go on the Oak Trail Golf Course, and you play golf with a soccer ball.
I like this. I want to do this.
Right, it sounds fun until you get out there and realize how bad you really are at. You know what? Why don't we do like a little foot golf meetup event thing?
Kicking a ball is my thing.
Is that your thing?
I can kick
really?
a ball.
I'm fascinated and frightened all at the same time.
The only sport I was good. Dodgeball, no. I'm not good.
So with something else, I haven't, fortunately, knock on wood, tried it yet. But there's a new Lost and Found service that Disney moved online, and it's powered by a company called Chargeback, which provides services for airlines and other venues. So back in May, instead of having to actually go to the Lost and Found Center, you report a lost item on the Disney website. That directs you back to Chargeback, where you complete a form, and then you get an email back with your lost item claim number, and then Disney will continue to update you as they search for your item over 48 hours. If you're going to lose something anywhere, lose it here. I've had friends lose cameras, phones, children, parents, but 99% of the time it always comes back. Wallets full, cameras in perfect condition.
I have to second that. Everybody I know that has lost something at Walt Disney World, from phones to wallets with money, have received it in the exact condition they lost it, which I say only in Disney World.
Yeah, it's actually incredible. Like when you talk to them at Lost and Found about the numbers of things that get turned in each day, like hundreds of phones, thousands of pairs of sunglasses, like Versace sunglasses. I mean, you could open a store, I'm sure, with, to say the least, with what's turned in each year. But yeah, I lost a pair of sunglasses and they came back to me a couple days later. I mean, it's pretty cool, and this new online system is fantastic because schlepping to that Lost and Found building is difficult, especially if you're traveling. And have already, don't want to take the time out of your day to spend time at Lost and Found. So that's a great idea.
And speaking of online and some of these things, Disney this summer launched a brand new Play Disney Parks app, which allows you to not only play games and do things online, which was sort of the impetus for my original trivia book, but now you can not only have access to theme park music, but very recently, your in-game achievements give you the opportunities of purchasing a special pin that you can only get for pin collectors. that you can only get if you complete some of the things. Have you guys played the Play Disney Parks app at all?
We've done the interactive stuff, and it's cute. It's like the old Phineas and Ferb. So you've on your phone, like we did, for example, in the Japan Pavilion, it kind of sends you around to explore different areas and answer different questions. But then you can also make things happen. Like there's a wind chime outside of Mitsukoshi that you can actually press, and it'll ring for you. The water will come up at the koi pond, and one of the lanterns will make noise. So it's really cool for the kids to be able to touch something on your phone, and the wind chime over your head starts to ring, that kind of thing. So I like that.
Without having to pick up the flip phone from...
Lisa is re-interesting me in the app. I played it when it first came out, and it felt like it was for a younger audience. But now that you're telling me things like that, you can do that. That sounds good. I have to recheck it out. Yeah. And they keep changing it, so I'm looking forward to what they can make it into.
Yeah, the day one launch versus now is markedly different in terms of the number of things you can do and some of the additional... And I think that's obviously where we're going. When Magic Bands were first introduced, I mean, this was, and I still very much believe, the very, very small tip of the personalization and interactive iceberg. I think the Play Disney Parks app, as well as some of the improvements and changes that have come and I believe are coming to the My Disney Experience app, are very much going to change the dynamic of the experience. Maybe we'll talk more about that on the 2019 show. Becky doesn't play Disney parks. She doesn't like those things. I'm going to speak right to your wheelhouse. Okay. Because Club 33 came to Walt Disney World in Epcot, yes. Disney's Hollywood Studios, yes. and Adventureland and Magic Kingdom.
Yes, it did. In a whole new format too. Which
do you see how Becky's face changed from when she walked here this morning?
Well, hold on. I can get a cocktail now in any of the parks.
You could do that before too. If you went to Be Our Guest, you could.
But that's not a cocktail. No. That was beer and wine. So come on, get with it. I can now have a cocktail
without having to sneak your flask in over to Aloha Isle and make.
God, thanks for that flask, by the way. That was a really cool gift of. I think it was my birthday gift that you gave me. But yes, they did roll out the Club 33 memberships here, and it's been wildly popular. And I love what they've kind of done. They've made little lounges in 3 of the 4 parks. The one in Animal Kingdom is still coming. But it's a nice little extra perk to have available to you with some great menu items, which you have actually tried a couple of them. So don't be giving me that look.
I didn't say anything. You are the one who could best speak to it. So yes, it's they're very, very well themed, and as much as I miss the catwalk bar and some of the things, I'm curious to see what not only the Adventureland one looks like, but the one that's coming to Pandora. Let's sort of start drilling down, and maybe Adventureland is a good way to segue over to Magic Kingdom. And I think one of the biggest conversation, and it's a small change for a lot of guests, but for those of us who are longtime Disney fans, when Pirates of the Caribbean reopened here in March or in April in Disneyland, the We Want the Redhead auction scene changed amidst, I won't call it controversy, discussion, and there were sort of, almost 2 sides to the conversation. The auction scene where you would take a wench for a bride has been changed out, and now instead of the redheaded bride, we have a redheaded pirate. Although the one thing I didn't want to mention too about pirates, I just thought of it, was for Halloween, and it might have just been during the party, Gunpowder Pete, they had the character outside in the queue. Becky, Pirates of the Caribbean is an attraction.
I didn't know that there was a change. I didn't mean that. Jeez.
So, thoughts on the change of We Wants the Redhead, changing the Buy a Bride to the strong female pirate?
Yes. I mean, I'm cool with it, to say the least. I think the new scene is awesome. If you're going to change something, why not change the sale of women? At least we're still waterboarding Carlos, So we can still laugh at that.
There's a new shirt coming to the WDW Radio store, hashtag Save Carlos.
No, I mean, I dig it. There was a lot of conversation around it, but, there's bigger things in the world to worry about than whether or not, we're still selling women on Pirates of the Caribbean. So,
do you remember where we first saw the story of the redhead? You're looking at me with this blank look, I have no idea. In Shanghai. Remember? Okay. She was all over the place, and that was definitely part of the story at the Pirates there. So it's neat to kind of see that storyline come to a different location. And yeah, I kind of like the kick butt woman scenario in Pirates. Long overdue.
I love the scene. I didn't think it needed to be changed, but when they changed it, I loved it. Yeah, I love it. I think it's great. I mean, considering that there's a man hanging in the Haunted Mansion, I don't know that you can solve everything that people deem inappropriate, but I love the scene. I think it's great.
And I think that was my only concern, was that if you start to go through every single attraction, every scene, every painting, then, how far does that change go?
Are the hyenas bullying people in small?
Right. I mean, and I'm not saying it to make light or fun of anything, but it does come to that. How many people need to complain before something else gets changed? Are you setting potentially a bad precedent for, look, it's piracy. I mean, it's a riot about piracy. There was nothing, fun and magical and glamorous.
The song tells you what they're doing.
Right. I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Do you start changing lyrics? Do you start changing some of the imagery? Do you start removing attractions? And I hope not. Look, I'm not a woman. At least I don't think I am. I am not. So I didn't have an issue with it before. I certainly can see the point now in terms of why it's being changed. It didn't impact me, honestly, one way or the other. Again, just for the discussion of how deep does this start to go, and is this the beginning of a larger snowball starting to roll downhill? Staying in Magic Kingdom, and I know I'm looking forward to 2019, and I really don't care, because as we approach Magic Kingdom, you can't help but notice the Tron coaster. Speaking of Shanghai, that the ground preparation is well underway. Some changes that are going to be coming to the Tomorrowland Speedway. Obviously, the railroad is being closed. Somewhat spoiler alert, I am ridiculously excited about Tron coming. And what I think, too, and I know I'm really getting... I think the Tron coaster is going to usher in a sweeping change to Tomorrowland as a whole. And if you've already noticed, they've changed some of the signage in Tomorrowland too. So if you look at some of the signage over by Stitch's Great Escape, it has that very 70s retro spire look. They've changed the color of some of the rocks. Everything is, I think, that Imagineering does is very deliberate, and I think those are some of the small indicators to what might be coming to Tomorrowland in the future. There was also the Incredibles Tomorrowland Expo to celebrate the release of Incredibles 2.
That was a lot of fun. When they
tell me, so what was it about that was fun for you?
The characters who were cosplaying their favorite the other heroes that were in it, I didn't know they were in the movie. I don't think a lot of us did if you didn't see the movie. And then when you saw the movie, the connection was made of who's the guy that burps, the indigestion guy? What's his name?
Indigestion man.
Come on, what's his name? You know his name. Regurgitation guy. Acid reflux. It was great. I thought those characters were so awesome.
I'm making a shirt that says Regurgitation Man for you.
There's your Halloween costume for next year.
You would do good as Regurgitation.
Space Mountain received a new exit tunnel, so the way, after a very, very long refurbishment, Space Mountain has a new way that you exit. I sort of I grew up with those screens and the exit tunnel. We would be remiss if we didn't mention, and I keep thinking of the Bruce Springsteen song, Oh, I'm on Fire. The Maleficent Dragon caught fire back in May.
I heard she did return.
I believe she was supposed to return. She was supposed to, but she hasn't as yet.
She hasn't passed her fire safety test yet, but she is supposedly coming back in all of her fiery glory. I mean, they're testing the fire, so...
They do not learn, do they? No, but I'm glad that...
I'm glad she's coming back. But somebody who's not coming back, and I'm really not sad about it, I'm very happy for him, was Magic Kingdom Vice President Dan Cockrell, retired in May. Jason Kirk took over his role. I love Dan Cockrell. I love his father. He was our keynote speaker at Momentum this year, and like his dad the previous year, could have spoken all day long. I think Dan was a good guy. He was a phenomenal cast member. So in that regard, I'm sad to see. I think that's the last of the Cockrells that are here at Disney. Anything else at Magic Kingdom? I'm sorry, at Magic Kingdom that I missed?
It was technically very late December 2017, but the reopening of Hall of Presidents Whatever you think about the addition, I think that the new script is beautiful, and I just think it was beautifully done. I love the new script.
I will agree. No matter what your political affiliation, it was done well. Maybe the animatronic itself may not have been, but the script, the story, the message, well.
Wait, didn't Muppet start this year? Didn't the Muppet, was it 2017?
Yeah, it was
2017? I don't get to the parks very often. Anything else in Magic Kingdom?
I'm thinking.
I mean, we could touch on the after hours.
We'll talk about that when we get to events, because, like you, I really enjoyed the after-hour events. Over in Epcot, we'll start from the beginning of the park, working our way in. Siemens is no longer sponsor of Spaceship Earth. That 12-year alliance came to a close, and I think with that, as we look forward, that might usher in some additional changes. As you walk in, you may or may not see that incredibly large building off to your left that's being constructed for Guardians of the Galaxy. And again, we'll talk about it as we look forward. But OMG, that
is a huge show building. I'm wondering if it's on par with Pirates in Shanghai, because I've never seen a show building that large before.
I was going to say,
to be the biggest indoor coaster in the country or world? I mean, it's
in the universe. Say in the galaxy. See,
in the galaxy. But I don't know if you've seen. I took a picture of it a couple of days ago because they're finally enclosing it, and the color that they've made it
Sky blue.
But gorgeous. I mean, it goes away, especially behind the. When you're looking from World Showcase, sort of past the test track building, it just disappears. Okay, it's incredible.
What Lisa's saying shocked me, because sometimes you look over there now, and on certain times of the day, the color absolutely matches the sky.
Well, that's like the Soarin' building, the same thing. Like, depending on where you are and the time of day, it becomes invisible, and it's remarkable how they do that. So, yeah, and the fact that it's going to be one of the world's largest indoor roller coasters. I mean, because remember, it's not just that building, but they still have the Universe of Energy Q building, which is also it's a huge footprint as well. Ratatouille finally got its name. It's going to be called Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. Lisa's doing a very quiet golf clap. You are excited?
I'm excited for it. Yeah, I've been loving watching it go up, and I'm super excited for it.
And I like the fact, just as a quick aside, that if you've ever been to any of the Destination D events, that they save things like that. Like Bob Chapek came out and gave the announcement of that, and many other things, including some of the Star Wars concept art at Destination D, which I think is one of the benefits of going to those events. You've ridden Remy's Ratatouille Adventure?
I have not, actually. Sorry.
What do you do when you go to the other park? I mean, other than sample the cocktails.
The last time I was actually in Paris, it was down the last time, and the time before that, it wasn't open yet. It was just being built, so I had bad timing on the last.
So you're saying that we have to go to France, is what you're saying?
You know what? I've been talking to you about that for quite some time now, haven't I?
Interesting. John, you should come. We have so much fun. We eat so much.
You think that's getting? I love the way the food is the way to get me. Okay, when are we going?
Right. Announcements coming. Oh, wait. Speaking of Guardians of the Galaxy, Guardians of the Galaxy, Wicka Wicka Wah, Awesome Mix Live debuted. Yeah, that was me. That was DJ. Debuted in June. It was Star-Lord and Gamora and a 7-piece band. I dug it, man. Like, it was campy and funny and.
It was so campy.
But like that's why it was because
it was Star Wars Christmas.
Because
a little too soon for me to be seeing Gamora on the stage after Avengers, but
I think it had to be campy. If it tried to take itself too seriously, it wouldn't have worked.
It was the most fun I've had at that venue. It really was, and I know some people thought it was like sacrilegious to Epcot. I loved it.
Sacrilege. Have you seen the Barbie stage show back in the early '80s?
Oh.
Don't tell that. Yeah.
Oh, that's.
Do you ever listen to this show? Good. Gandhi. Yeah. There was a giant pink lemonade, a giant pink limousine, a stretch limo that pulled up in front of the American Garden Theater before it had the canopy, and it was the magical world of Barbie stage.
No.
Yeah. No, I'm not lying. Yeah. Google that action. Tell me no. It's the stuff of nightmares. But I think you're right. Like, because it didn't take itself seriously. They played like fun, singable, danceable, recognizable songs. I think it was a neat, albeit temporary addition. But wait, before you start getting all excited, you get your tissues out, because you also learned, as we've been predicting for a while. Don't look at me so surprised. You know Illuminations is going away, right?
Okay, I love Illuminations, but its time has come. that globe in the center needs to. It's done.
That's usually
They've stopped fixing that globe, so it's time. I mean, I love Illuminations with all my heart, but I'm super excited for the interim show that's coming with all the old attractions. It's going to be amazing.
What scares me about an interim show is kind of like what happened with Rivers of Light. There was the interim show. I know this isn't the same thing, but I just hope people may fall in love with the interim show and then not like the big, huge one later.
That's okay. It's like the nighttime parades. They will always have the ability to come back if they want to. But I'm with you. This has been 20 years of Illuminations. I love me some Illuminations. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's one of my favorite events to pull off. But I'm ready. I'm ready for a new show with new technology and take advantage of the new pyro technology as well. I'm hoping that we'll see in there. So.
And from what we saw, and I keep referencing this, what we saw in Tokyo Disney Sea, if that's any indicator of what's coming here, strap in because it is going to be amazing.
I think what most people might miss is the music from Illuminations more than what show we're getting now. You think that might be the case?
Well, there was the same thing that they had, remember when they did the parade through the Tapestry of Nations?
That was the best, yeah.
People still miss that music, but they do pipe it in. So, you hear that before the show. So I have a feeling that we won't ever lose that music. It'll always be there in some way, shape, or form because it is so beloved. But it's time to take advantage of technology that's now 20 years later.
Absolutely.
Right. As much as we love and have a nostalgic affection towards these things, when it's time to change, you've got to rearrange who you are and what you want to be.
However, the one thing I do want them to never do away with is figure out a new Christmas tag. That is the thing that makes Illuminations, especially this time of year. So hopefully they'll have some sort of special holiday edition to it. If you're listening, please have one.
They have to.
Of course they will. And I mean, I think I love Illuminations as much as anybody. It is the music. I think Disney has shown that they're very smart about these things. They tease the music in the new shows. Like you still have Holiday Wishes where you get the Wishes music. I'm sure that I can't imagine life without Tapestry of Nations. I'm sure they'll work all the music in. And that, but there's no space like that 360-degree lagoon in all of Disney World other than that. So I think it's high time they made use of it.
Yeah, which is just, and they do it remarkably well in Disney Sea, both during the day and at night. I'm not saying to bring back Surprise in the Skies or anything like that, or the dragon boats or the kites or but I think that they could do something potentially during the day and at night too. Exactly. Something else that came to Epcot this year, and I think unfortunately it's overlooked because when you go to American Adventure, you go to the show, you see Voices of Liberty, and you go in. But the Creating Tradition, Innovation, and Change and American Indian Art is a new 5-year exhibit that opened there. I also want to reference you back to show number 537, where we talked about Native American culture, not just in the Disney parks, but in Disney films. And let's quickly go through not one, not two, not three, but all 4 of the events, because Epcot is now sort of the year-long event, cavalcade, spectacular Festival of the Arts, Flower and Garden, Wine and Dine, and Festival of the Holidays. You clearly have something important to say.
No, I'm just wondering. I think somebody decided, you know what, it's too much trouble to break down these kiosks, so let's figure out a way to utilize them instead of having to break them down and store them and put them back up. Obviously, Epcot is known for its food and wine. Regardless, the Food and Wine Festival.
Yeah, keep saying food and wine.
However, they found a way to utilize the kiosk, the space, to obviously get us more enticed with other dishes and other food offerings, whether it be throughout the holidays where you get special cookies to, the springtime when they've got the flower and garden show as well. So I welcome it. I think it's wonderful to have different opportunities to try different flavors throughout the seasons. I can now see that there's not going to be a slow time in Epcot.
No. Well, look, there's not a slow time here anywhere.
Exactly.
We keep talking about 10, 15 years ago, this first week in December used to be a ghost town, and now it's just not that way anymore. Any thoughts either about your favorite of the festivals as a whole, New Edition, L'Chaim, we finally got Knish.
I don't know if this isn't festival related, but the pizza window at Via Napoli has changed, and it is now the same people, patina, and it is amazing.
We had that way. We did that one night. I don't know what we were there for. But
if you've ever been to the pizza window at Via Napoli and did not like it, go back. It is incredible. Sorry, that was my food.
That yet.
It's amazing. It's not like this.
So you talk about there not being a slow time at Epcot, but being used to now all of the chain of festivals at Epcot, like how sad is Epcot over the summer? I mean, we're so spoiled now by this, rapid succession between now mid-August and the end of May of festivals that walking into Epcot from June through mid-August, it's like, where are my kiosks? Where are all the things to do? And I love not just the food. I mean, the food obviously is fantastic, but all the shows that they've been doing. The Broadway series that they did during Festival of the Arts was fantastic, and some of the best stuff I've ever seen on stage at American Gardens Theater.
And I think sometimes, we know about the big name acts that come for Flower and Garden and food and wine, but people, you forget about the amount and quality of free additional entertainment that you get at Epcot in terms of, I love live performances in the parks. I'm going to do top 10 eventually live performers in the parks, because whether they are Streetmosphere or the Boardwalk Juggler or whoever that you like, there's so much great entertainment. I think obviously Epcot and the festivals offers a great opportunity and certainly a great venue for it. I mean, look, Candlelight Processional, and no matter how many times I see it, I weep like I weep like me. But you don't need to sit in the front row. You can literally just walk in the back of the promenade and watch and listen. And if that choir doesn't sort of get you right here, I'm pointing to my heart or my small appendix, it does. It's a really moving moment that I hope they don't move to Pittsburgh.
No, I agree. The Candlelight Processional is amazing. And you don't need to sit, like you said, in the front. I've gotten a great experience in the back.
Favorite narrator?
NPH. Yeah. Neil Patrick Harris just does it for me every year.
And it's such an easy go-to, but he loves what he does.
Yeah, and you can tell he really gets into it. And just, I think we were watching as we did it together this year, and how there was some music that he was kind of bopping to, and he would do a little facial expression every time. So it keeps you entertained listening to the beautiful music. But there's also a little element of comedy there, too, which I love watching him.
I know what your answer is going to be, so don't even bother. I just thought of this really stupid question. If you could have one Marvel actor narrate the Candlelight Processional, who would it be?
Iron Man.
Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah.
Chris Pratt.
No.
Shocking.
But you know what? Chris Hemsworth did narrate it in Disneyland last year, I do believe, and you and I were doing something, so I didn't get to go. So,
and I heard about that for a long time, that we didn't get to do it.
Favorite narrator? You have to. Did you ever catch Isabella Rossellini?
No.
Her accent was great for Candlelight. She was.
She's fantastic.
Although I have to say, when I broadcast, I try and focus. They're all phenomenal, but there's one woman, I wish I knew her name, and forgive me that I don't. The woman that does the signing puts on a performance like there's nobody's business. It's beautiful. She is truly a performer, an artist, and
in her own right.
It's a gift what she gives. Whether you can get, she's awesome. Yep. So to whoever you are, or if you know her, please thank her for us. Let's move over to Disney's Hollywood Studios. Nothing really new happened over there this year. Other than Toy Story Land, which opened on June 30th. Again, this for me was a bit of a surprise. I like Toy Story. It's not my favorite thing in the world. And when I saw the concept art, I'm like, it's going to be a coaster like Barnstormer. It's going to be a little... I was incredibly surprised at how much I loved Slinky Dog Dash. It is a true, fun family coaster. And I don't mean family coaster like, your 2-year-old's she's going to love it. Like, it is exciting for the adults as much as it is for the kids.
It's a wonderful coaster. I could stay on it all day. It has, it's thrilling, but not too intense. I even love the Andy's Lunchbox there. Just getting a nice little tomato soup and a grilled cheese. It's not Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, but it's a nice addition. I love it.
It's like giving you a little appetizer before they give you the main course.
Well, and I think Hollywood Studios just needed a kid-oriented area. I mean, as somebody who goes to the parks, very regularly with my small children, we now have a destination in Hollywood Studios. My 5-year-old is still a little nervous to go on Tower of Terror. It's going to be 10 years before he's tall enough for Rock and Roller Coaster. So to have a fun area that's kid focused. Like if you went to Toy Story Land wanting it to be Pandora or Galaxy's Edge, you were going to be disappointed. But that's not what it was meant to be. And you really could. I mean, I think when the three of us sat down to talk about it, we were surprised by how long we ended up talking about the area, because there really is there are so many hidden details and surprises, in that area. And Slinky Dog Dash is fantastic, but you could also just walk around all day and look at the little details.
And it's so different at night than it is during the day, too.
Yeah, Slinky Dog Dash was definitely a surprise because when you look at it, it looks like it's going to be a barnstormer or something that's kind of cute and kitty. But when you get on it does have some really exciting, thrilling surprises up its sleeve, which is really kind of fun. But I think that land has so many of the details, like we talked about before, that if you walk through it slowly and pay attention, it's a lot of fun just taking a look at what you can discover. Just looking in the bushes. There's so many really cute little details that they've done in there.
Also, because Andy decorated his backyard with Christmas lights, naturally, around Christmas time with the little additions they did, it was a wonderful place to be at night. You know, Buzz Lightyear in a Santa hat, the cookies. It's just a nice, I'm sorry, everything goes back to food, but it was a really nice for Christmas. I thought it was really
And I dig me some Woody's Lunchbox. The little tachos and the grilled cheese. Woody's Lunchbox. And
I still haven't had those.
the tachos.
Everybody keeps
I believe that there's cocktails for Becky there, too, aren't there?
There are cocktails there, and also it's one of the only places in the park where you can get a proper breakfast. Like
breakfast? What is
well,
a proper breakfast?
I'm not a prepackaged muffin. Not a prepackaged muffin. Like I mean, I know like being here on vacation, like going to Magic Kingdom early with your kids. It's kind of hard to find like a breakfast that isn't just like a prepackaged muffin or something along those lines. But yeah. But unless you want to go to the bakery. But no, the Woody's Lunchbox has like a nice breakfast menu.
Oh, worth mentioning when we get into the after hours that Woody's Lunchbox is open, and those tachos are hot because it's not so crowded, and they're perfect.
That's a nice night right there. We'll get to it. Okay. I'm schwitzing. Toy Story Mania also, obviously with the changes there, got a little bit of a change to their queue as well. Actually, Hollywood Studios as a whole sort of changed. I remember being lost for years. I've entered Hollywood Studios through sort of the back entrance, but there was a new entrance, new parking lot to make way for Galaxy's Edge, which, by the way, when you ride Slinky Dog, you get a pretty nice view into that. What we did learn, and I mention it now as opposed to looking ahead, what we did learn this year is it's going to be called the Black Spire Outpost. The attraction buildings, that the rocks are going up, and Millennium Falcon, Smuggler's Run, and Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. If you think the lines for Toy Story Land were long, which, by the way, if you remember, those lines went all the way back past the Chinese Theater, all the way down to the commissary. I mean, there were 4, 5, 6 hour lines. If you're not in line for Galaxy's Edge now, you're probably doing it wrong. We'll talk about that as we look ahead, but it's... The crowds and everything is going to be interesting. For the little ones, or little ones at heart, the Disney Junior Dance Party opened with Vampirina and Doc McStuffins and Timon and Mickey Mouse. And Pizza Rizzo became a seasonal restaurant. It's only been open for a couple years. I dig that venue. I love the upstairs. What I like to call the Italian wedding hall, because that's pretty much every wedding that I went to as a kid.
I have no opinion on the food or anything at Pizza.
I'm not listening.
No, the Meatball Heroes were really good. I was totally
really
good.
No, I've never had a meatball here. There,
it's actually pretty good.
Now I have to go try it because I sort of dismissed, Pizza Rizzo because traditionally,
the pizza no, but Meatball Heroes pretty good.
All right, well now I have to go.
Caesar salad, they do a nice job for $10.
And that place is replete with so many cool details and story elements. You never actually did the scavenger hunt that I made for the WDW Radio Nation, did you? Whatever.
I did the scavenger hunt that you made for the quest, where we got to spend.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that. Anything else from the studios that I missed?
Studios. They added lasers to the Christmas show that was really cool. It looks nice with coming out of Tower of Terror.
Yeah. We'll touch on some of the special events too. Over at Animal Kingdom, it was relatively quiet. There was a new hippo born there, first time in more than a decade. The Caravan Theater got a little bit of an upgrade and a new show, a great bird adventure show. Still an exotic bird show, but has Doug and Russell from Up. Anybody see it?
We've seen it. It's cute.
It's cute. I do think it's disappointing from the first show, and they missed the opportunity of not showing Kevin, the bird from Up, on the bird show. Otherwise, it is still... if you have not seen the bird show, go see it.
And I think the only other thing that I remember from Animal Kingdom over in Pandora, there was a new walk-around character, the AMP, the Amplified Mobility Platform, the big dude in that that sort of, if you remember the scene from Aliens with Sigourney Weaver, it's like a one of the Pandora guys in one of those as a walk around. But other than, I mean, there wasn't else really a lot that happened or changed in Animal Kingdom.
And it didn't need to. The people are going, but yeah. Not much.
The lines are right. The lines for Flight of Passage are still the lines of Flight of Passage. We'll see how Galaxy's Edge impacts that. But I also think it's the calm before the storm in terms of what else might be coming to Animal Kingdom. Let's quickly move over to the Disney resorts. Over at the Contemporary, the Pixar Play Zone replaced the arcade, which I'm sad about. However, if you I actually had a chance to go in and check it out. If you have kids ages 4 to 12, you can play with characters from Toy Story and The Incredible, and it's not just dumping kids in front of video games. It's have your kids been there?
Yeah, we did do it once. I think it's like $75 a kid, and it's nice because it's like babysitting, quote unquote, for the night if you want to have an evening, with your significant other. But also feel like you're giving your kids like a unique Disney experience and not just dumping them off with a sitter or an activity area, for the evening. So they're getting a cool Disney experience while you have some time, some adult time.
And there's food, like they feed them and stuff too. They have a menu that you can choose from.
Yeah.
What amazes me is if you're a local, you don't have to be staying at the hotel. You can actually use it as a babysitting service.
Yeah. I mean, it's not cheap, but it's cool to, for a special occasion or, once in a while to kind of give your kids a special event as well while you're going out.
Right. It's a double win because you get to go have a nice meal at California Grill or wherever you want to go, and your kids feel like you're doing something special for them.
I don't think they require proof of the kids' ages, so you can check me and Lou in, and we would enjoy it.
I'm sure you would.
You might want to shave that goatee on your face.
I could be a hairy kid.
Overall, at the resorts, and again, we're talking about how much more your phone is going to play a part, not just in your theme park experience, but your resort experience. Your digital key on the My Disney Experience app gives you access to the resorts. I know I saw you did a video when it first came out. Your mom or you were staying at the Polynesian.
Yeah, like I was so excited because it was right when they started it, like that day. I think my mom was staying at Poly, so it's cool. I mean, a lot of people are like, well, why would you need that? But I think it is just sort of a first step in like the many, many things that your phone and will be able to do. And there are those times when like your Magic Band is acting up, or you happen to leave it in the room. So it is nice to have it as a backup, and it's just cool. Like you turn your Bluetooth on your phone, and you can open your door with your phone. It's just some cool tech.
Yeah, like I don't wear a Magic Band. I like I think it's a backup. Have you used it on the app, or you just use your Magic Band?
I'm just using the Magic Band for now. It's just easier.
I think what's going to happen is it'll start to, as your phone becomes more of a part of your resort and theme park experience, you're going to be having that out more and more, and that might sort of start to be the go-to thing.
You can also see it becoming like your Apple Watch,
Right.
which is a lot more convenient, obviously, than breaking out your phone and opening the app. So I think it's a first step. It's a cool first step.
Yeah, I think if you have an Apple Watch, a lot of what the Magic Bands do could eventually be transferred over to those devices. We did get some information about some of the new hotels that are under construction and that are coming. We see the Riviera Resort and the Gran Destino Tower at Disney's at Disney's Coronado Springs Resort. Not only did it get its name, but construction is well underway. Those will be opening next year. We know that the name of the new high-end boutique hotel near the Swan and Dolphin is going to be called The Cove, and the new nature-inspired hotel coming over by where River Country is going to be called Reflections, a Disney Lakeside Lodge. Groundbreaking on the Star Wars Hotel, which is going to be sort of on the south side of Hollywood Studios, sort of east of World Drive, is underway. We'll talk more about what that is going to be when it opens. Again, be prepared.
No, reservations are not open. I know. Yet. I get an email every day about getting reservations at that hotel. Not open yet.
I mean, there's really no details at all, even in terms of when it's going to open. And just quickly sticking with the resorts, Sebastian's Bistro over at the newly updated, remodeled, reimagined Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort opened in October. I have not been there yet, deliberately giving a little bit of time. I know you have and raved about it.
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. Not only was the food good, the service was fantastic. And I also love how spacious the restaurant is. You are not packed in at all. It's wide open inside. There's a ton of light coming in. And I'll throw in, the menu was phenomenal. And also just Caribbean Beach as a whole right now with the refurb and remodel of the lobby and Banana Cabana area outside as you're walking to Sebastian's is beautiful. It's just full of light, and I don't know if I'm sure you guys have walked through, and seen it, but it's just, yellow curtains, and even the bathrooms are pretty. Like, it makes me want to stay there. Like, it was definitely worthwhile, the amount of work that they did there.
Have you? Is it all seafood, or is there non?
No. There's like a great pulled pork dish, and there's great burgers, and no, it's not all seafood at all.
We need to go there. We need to do a food review.
John just told me we need to do a food review there. So
there's like a list already of food reviews that we need to do.
As many food reviews as I've done, there's a lot. So speaking of
a
food,
lot of meals in a day. So
there's at least 6 meals per day. Anything else? So anything else resort wise that I missed? Other than Sammy Duvall's water sports, after 2 decades, 20 years it was here. Left Walt Disney World this year.
It's not your wheelhouse, but I mean the fun runs have been. I know.
That was quite an eye roll there.
But no, I mean, I think it's just a part of, like, this year was, a lot of the park stuff this year is kind of on hold and just watching the building excitedly. Yeah. So it kind of has been the year of the special events and the resort activities and just sort of diving into areas of Disney that you don't normally explore as much. And I mean, it's just one example, but, a lot of the resorts now have these morning fun runs where you can kind of go out. It's like it's like 3K usually. It's like 1.4 to 1.8 miles. You can walk it. You can stroller it with your kids. You can, it's a fun way to just go see a part of, Disney that you might not have explored on foot before.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
There's a beignet dash. That's been on for more than...
Beignet dash?
Yeah.
Okay, wait. I'm sorry I made fun of the running. If there are beignets at the end of the run...
Wait a second. Let me introduce you to a new concept. You could actually go there and buy the beignets without the running.
Oh, okay. Forget that.
So no, I mean you pay like $15 a person for your bib to do the little walk or run. Like French Quarter, they've been doing it for more than a year, but you walk around the water from French Quarter to Riverside and back, and on your bib there's a coupon for 3 free beignets when you're done. Or like here at the Boardwalk one, there's a cool pin you get at the end and like a goofy slushie. That's cute. They mix it in, and it's like you're not running it necessarily. Right. You just kind of go out for a walk with your kids in the morning, and there's a little treat at the end. So
once again, adding something of value in the resort area. Because there's a lot of people who are like you that will do that every morning. I, however, will not. I want to sleep in. I want to have coffee brought up to me. I do not want to get up and run.
Paying $15 to run with a child is not necessarily the way Becky wants to spend her morning.
No, that's not my vacation.
But I mean, there's also like the wine and painting activities. A lot of the resorts now, and I just think there's like
there's the wine.
But I think they're just adding a lot of levels of experience to parts of Disney that you wouldn't normally be exploring.
And I think it's something you can do with your kids. And I think it's for kids who can't do the races, it's a great way for them to take their, literally like the baby steps, but get, my son wanted to run because he wanted the medal. But for years was too young, so that's a great way to do it without a huge investment of time or money.
But it also kind of ties into the ticketing, because if you're staying here for 7 days and you're on a budget or you're trying to watch what you're spending, you can pick the days you want to go in the park, and then these activities allow you to enjoy the resort for a day without having a park ticket as well.
Yep.
You mentioned beignets, which got me thinking about food. I didn't really hear anything that you said, but let's quickly talk about a little bit. Well, we're going to make our way over to Springs as a whole, but in terms of food, 2018 was like the year of the cupcake. I counted no less than 721 different themed cupcakes.
What?
Because in the parks, the resorts, special events, look at that. That looks delicious. Some guy just walked by with ice cream. I'm starving. There are a ton of different... I'm actually, for years, somebody who's been a guest on the show before and I have been talking about doing a cupcake tour, and she and I are definitely going to do it very soon in 2019. The Edison at Disney Springs opened in January. We'll talk about some of the special events we've been to there. And again, I think you're the only one here who's done so far the storybook dining with Snow White. at Artist Point at Disney's Wilderness Lodge, again, when it was announced, was the subject of much discussion and debate because Artist Point was a beautiful, albeit I think very overlooked, deluxe dining experience. But on the other side of the coin, what it does do is it adds not only another character meal, a unique character meal, but something at Wilderness Lodge, especially for kids. Now, I know you've done that before.
Yeah, Wilderness Lodge needed a character meal, and this is the perfect thing. This space is stunning. I mean, stunning. They basically took the columns in Artist Point and created these gorgeous, very real-looking trees that come out, and they're covered in fairy lights. I mean, the space is beyond gorgeous. The menu needs a minute to settle down, but it is already very, very good. And it's by far and away the most immersive character dining experience on property. I mean, you are in the Snow White's forest. The characters are only Snow White characters. You've got the Evil Queen, which is the only place you can meet a villain in that sort of setting. She's fantastic. And you have Dopey. If you're a Dopey girl or a Dopey guy, that you can meet. So it's Dopey, Grumpy, Snow White, and the Evil Queen. It's just very cool. It's by far the most immersive dining experience I've had on property.
I want to get like I do because I refuse to review a restaurant until it's had a few weeks or even a couple of months to sort of find its way, not just in the kitchen, but for the servers as well. That's definitely what I want to do, a live dining review of. From food, let's quickly go over to merchandise. Again, I think it started probably in 16 or 17, but the Spirit jersey boom has exploded now with attraction Spirit jerseys, where they have a tough time keeping the Haunted Mansion and Tiki Room and Pirates ones on the shelves. Rose gold ears, John's doing the ear thing. They are rose gold, millennial pink, potion purple. Now they just announced the Spaceship Earth wall or some new wall. The bubble, whatever it's called. Sorry, I'm not as hip Instagram as whatever. And it's a thing. Like the rose gold ear has become now not just something to wear in the parks, but they are collectibles. Somebody in the WDW Radio Nation or Popular Group posted a picture of her suitcase coming to Walt Disney World, and it was just full of different ear hats that I guess she wears and takes pictures of. The other thing, too, are popcorn buckets. Popcorn buckets there's the Aliens, the Halloween Cauldron. There was also the Oogie Boogie one that I know we saw in Disneyland. Right. I think they're really cool. I just don't have the room to store, more popcorn. I mean, look, clearly this is a body that likes its popcorn, but do you guys buy the popcorn buckets, your kids?
I buy them always for other people that are dying to have them, and it's amazing to me how there's a line. People, there's a line of a half hour long or longer for people to buy a popcorn bucket. Yeah, they do look cute.
I was going to say, try Tokyo Disney Sea if you want to see a line for a popcorn bucket.
But the popcorn's so good there.
People will just go into that park, just stand in line for a popcorn bucket and leave.
Or just for the popcorn period.
Yeah. Oh.
Like if you were questioning coming with us to Japan, the popcorn is... I'm taking my glasses off because the popcorn is the best popcorn you'll have anywhere. And there's like 9 different flavors throughout the park.
No, why can't we have nice things? Why can't we?
You can, but you got to go to Tokyo to get them. We have 2 spots left for our trip.
We have Amazon Prime. Why can't they send us some?
You got to get it there because all the popcorn is different in all the different lands.
Just go with us. You want to.
I think I do want to.
Jeez.
I do agree.
You at least a good room together.
I would do that. Lisa wouldn't mind that.
Will you pay for mine?
Look at that. Yes, I will.
I'm down.
You fly, he'll buy. All right, I want to quickly go over to, we've been sort of dancing around the events at Walt Disney World, and there have been a lot of... Why do you look so confused, Becky? I'm going to clarify this for you.
We're staying in Walt Disney World because
we're
looking at things that changed, and so there's something else on the.
We're going to get to the other. We're going to get to the other parks, and by other parks I mean Disneyland and the international parks only, not Wiki Wachi and Boardwalk and baseball. One of the things that we've seen a lot more of in the parks are premium special events that are coming to that are. It's not something that you have to do, and if you don't do, you feel like you're missing out, but they are really nice additions. So obviously we've had Mickey's Not So Scary and Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party for ages. They are starting to happen much earlier than they used to. I think the Halloween party starts on Easter, and the Christmas party starts...
Crazy how that.
What was it?
August 14th was the first Halloween party.
And the Christmas party started in... days after, because there used to actually be a short period of time. A short period of time in early November, and I don't think that
people who are traveling,
Right.
and you want to be able to have the experience. I mean, maybe August is the only time that you can go because your kids are in school, and it's nice that you can have. It's as a local walking into the park on August 14th and seeing it, festive for Halloween. It's. It can be a little crazy.
Let me tell you, the Ewok costume does not play well in August. just so you know.
Those costumes don't, but I can fully appreciate, like, if you're traveling and that's the only time you can come. I love that you're able to have the holiday experience. So it's fine.
But there's a lot more than just those. So, for example, there are now more dessert parties with nighttime spectacular opportunity viewing. So there's Magic Kingdom has their Happily Ever After fireworks dessert party, and then the Rivers of Light dessert party. Has anybody done any of those? I haven't done any as yet.
I did one once. Unless you're a big dessert person, it's not worth it. Unless you just want to have it for the sake of having the nice viewing area and stuff.
Yeah, that's the point, is if you really want that premier viewing location and have it reserved for you so you're not trying to hold down a wall or an area in the wall, it can be really nice to be able to just walk in if you don't have a fast pass, because obviously there's a fast pass ability to kind of have that same viewing location as well. So I guess they're just giving a lot of opportunities for people to experience or have a different experience with the same shows that they've seen.
I've only done it at Hollywood Studios. We were invited to cover it. I don't even remember when it was. Maybe it was for Star Wars. And it was very nice. I mean, I'm not a big dessert guy. I mean, I ate my weight in desserts anyway, just for research purposes. But it was nice sort of having that area, and I think it too, if you like, Becky, I'm looking at you, if you like adult cocktails, you can certainly, drink your money's worth. I don't know what that sound was, but you can drink your money's worth or eat your money's worth. And it is nice to have that area without having to sort of line up, way earlier for it. They also did some early morning events at Magic Kingdom and Toy Story Land. So if you're an early riser, Becky, I'm not looking at you. If you're an early riser and want to get into the parks earlier and hit some of those attractions that have traditionally long waits, they have them at Magic Kingdom, Toy Story Land. And then I'm going to get to after hours events. We also did the H2O Glow Nights at Typhoon Lagoon, which was way more fun, honestly, than I expected it to be. Because, one, nobody wants to see this in a bathing suit. But we had a blast. Don't laugh. I'm going back to like the 1920s One Piece. But we had a blast. You did that too?
I did. It was, if you remember that night, it rained and we didn't know if we were going to stay. I did wind up leaving a little early, but I still liked it. I thought the crowd level was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, there was nobody there. Because I think I did it twice. I want to say that I did it twice because one time I was there and it didn't rain, and we just rode some of the attractions that have traditionally long waits over and over again. There was a DJ, there was a dance party, they had special food items.
It was the same night. The rain just stopped, and it ended up being a fantastic night. But yeah, like, it's such a great date night, or they had cool floaties in the lazy river that are funny animals and food and a DJ party, and we had so much fun that night. I was pleasantly surprised.
And before I get to the specific after hours events, Disney tried something out this year. I don't remember. At Vicky's Very Merry Christmas Party, they now introduced the Tony's Town Square dinner during so it's sort of a premium event within a premium event where you had access to Tony's Town Square, a huge buffet of hot foods. There were multiple bars. What was nice about it was you could go in there, get something to eat, relax, have a nosh, dessert, drinks, Becky doing lots of cocktails, and then go out, experience the Christmas party some more, go back, sit down. You can sit out on the terrace to watch the fireworks because it was only people who were in there. I think the price was $79, $99, somewhere in there. I was pleasantly surprised at how much and how good the food was, and it wasn't just desserts. There was the big antipasta table, and there was a lot of little hors d'oeuvres, a lot of sweet and savory. So I mean, you could sort of go there and make that your dinner, as opposed to having it wasn't just a place to have desserts or snacks. So you guys had not done that. Yeah, so that was new this year. Very quickly, over at the Edison and Maria Enzo's and Enzo's Hideaway, the Edison had themed event nights this year. They had Gatsby night, the Nightmare Before Christmas Halloween party, a New Year's Eve party, I think obviously ushering in what is probably going to be a monthly themed event. We did Gatsby and Halloween.
So much fun.
Had a blast.
So much fun. Like, some of the best times we've had, like, on property. It's great. Like, it's definitely an adult night. It runs super late. I think it was like 2 a.m. it ran until. The pricing is very...
I've never closed down Disney Springs before.
We closed it down. We closed down both of those, I think. It's like, it's, costumed if you want it to be costumed. And, I'm so excited to see what's coming with that next year, because I know, like, from the themed music, they had aerial performers, and
that band was amazing. The band was incredible, and it was like, John, nonstop food. Just they keep bringing it out to you like over and over again.
I wouldn't be interested in anything like that.
Right. No, you wouldn't like that. You wouldn't like. And we were smart. We got a table right by the kitchen, so as soon as they came out, we had first access. A lot of those things.
For other people.
Some things never made it past our table. And it was the price point was not super high. Like, we definitely felt like we got your money's worth.
Yeah, for what you got, like, it was very reasonable. And you get like a drink when you walk in. It's a good night. I'd highly recommend the Edison's late night events.
And the one thing I know that we have all done this year, and Disney not just brought it back but expanded to other parks, were the after hours events, not just in Magic Kingdom but at Disney's Hollywood Studios. And this year at Disney's Animal Kingdom was the first time they have done it. I don't know if I had ever done an after hours event before this year. We were invited to do all three. I think, and this could almost be a separate conversation, because I think there are some after-hour events that will appeal to other people for different reasons. Look, Animal Kingdom was a ghost town, and I mean that in a good way. So if you want to go and explore Animal Kingdom by yourself, basically, at night, and just ride Flight of Passage and Expedition Everest over and over and over and over and over again with nobody else there, that it's worth its weight in gold.
Mm-hmm. Well, I did the first when they rolled out the after hours parties in Magic Kingdom last year in 2017, and it was like having the park completely to yourself. No matter where you were going, you would maybe see one or two people walking across the hub to go somewhere else, but it was so empty and no people, and it was worth it to me. It was worth paying the price to have that type of access, even if it's just for photography or to be able to walk on any ride at all. And they were giving out popcorn, and we were getting free
ice cream.
Ice cream and all the things that come with it. So for me, I probably, if I saw one coming from the Magic Kingdom, especially because I haven't done the other ones because someone didn't tell me about the one at Hollywood Studios one night.
Lisa?
No.
John?
Do not blame it on anybody but you. Anyway, if I were to look at planning over a week, I might take one day and not buy a park ticket and buy the after hours party, because you get in at 4:00, or at least I did it when I was able to do it then, and just spend the day at the resort. Spend your $79 to $129, whatever the price point is, depending on what discount you have, and then get your after hours party in for that day, so it's not a waste of money that you haven't been in the park all day, and enjoy having the entire park to yourself.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't mind a couple, for Animal Kingdom, not every attraction obviously is open, but if you're going there to hit the big ones and you sort of want to have that feeling, I agree. Not if you don't have an annual pass, or depending on how you want to enjoy the parks. It was a nice night.
When we did the Magic Kingdom, I did it with a 12-people extended family. And we had the Bear Jamboree to ourselves, which was amazing. I've done it now in all the parks, and I know that a lot of people will say the sales point is you can just get on all the attractions without waiting. But there's still another sales point of being in the park when there's no one there. That experience alone is just incredible, and you're not getting it any other way. And you can't complain about the price, because that's the only reason why you're getting it that way. So it is the most amazing.
And to really drive the point home, it is not oversold at all. Yeah. I rode Everest with one other person.
Yeah.
You literally, you are walking on, for all intents and purposes, it's a long walk, but you're walking on to Flight of Passage. You have attractions, you have lands all to yourself.
Yeah. Even shows. They did Rivers of Light.
Yeah. It's an intimate park experience that you're not really going to get any other way. And, I mean, to be on Main Street when it's empty at night, get those, like you said, from a photography perspective, if you're into photography in the parks, like, do an after-hours event because you will never, ever get pictures like that any other way.
Exactly. The closest you're going to get is if you do a land buyout or a park buyout, which is going to be multi-millions of dollars to have that type of feeling. If you took, maybe 3,000 of your favorite friends and divided it, you're still not going to get anywhere near this park price to do it by yourself. And when you have a park as large as any of these, 3,000 people feels like you have it all to yourself. It really does.
No, I was going to say, and I'll say, too, like, don't get me wrong, like, the Halloween party and the Christmas party are wonderful. But when we came here on vacation, we would buy tickets to the Halloween party or Christmas party to know that we had a night where the attractions wouldn't be as crowded and the kids could ride whatever they wanted. And they are still relatively crowded, but sort of everybody's going to the parade or to the fireworks and to see the special events. So we would literally buy tickets to the Halloween party, not to go collect Hershey bars or necessarily even to watch the parade, but just to know that I would have one night where if there was other stuff we missed or that I knew I could get my kids on everything. And these after-hours events, I mean, if that's why you're buying party tickets, these after events are the way to go because there are so much. The park is so much more empty than it is for a party.
We were guesstimating there was maybe 700-800 people at Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, and that's really a good number. With the parties like you were talking about, the Halloween party and the Christmas party, there was a time when that's how it felt. Yeah. Like there was a 5-minute wait on anything, which meant you're actually walking into the queue for 5 minutes and getting on the ride. And as it's been more popular, obviously they're selling more and more tickets to those, so it doesn't have that exclusive feel anymore. However, there have been times when I've stood after paying those party prices and said, how much more would I pay to have that less number of people where you can do that? And this is the perfect answer.
Right. It's not, not every family is, if you have a family of 5 or 6, there's a certain, obviously, a cost associated with it. But if you are able to do it, I absolutely think it's worth it. Like, I had a lot of fun, even at Animal Kingdom. For most of the time, I was just sort of wandering around by myself, taking pictures, as opposed to riding. I rode Flight of Passage a couple of times, but then I just explored the park.
Yeah, going back to what Becky was saying about like renting a land or a park, it's almost like the analogy where, did you ever want to get together with some of your friends and rent Disney? They've done the legwork for you. That's what the after hours felt like.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see as it continues, as the word continues to get out, how much more popular, where does that cap number start to be for those? You guys are way too young to remember way back when in probably the late 80s, early 90s when they had e-ride nights.
Yeah.
And it was maybe $15, $20, right?
Space Mountain over and over and over, yeah.
And they had it only at Magic Kingdom. It was called e-ride nights. It was $15, $20, and they had attractions that were open, but there was nobody. There was nobody there. So.
It was only like $15 for 3 hours, yeah.
Let's move our way over to Disney Springs. The Star Wars Secrets of the Empire virtual reality experience opened up at The Void. Did you guys do Star Wars at all?
Yep, loved it.
That was
great.
I'm going to admit, when it first opened, I'm like, VR, I've seen it on my phone. It was crazy. Like, you felt the heat. You sort of felt like you were leaning over and going to fall. It's now the Wreck-It Ralph. The Ralph Breaks VR opened up in November, which I haven't had a chance to try yet.
They
Anybody?
still do Star Wars at the same time.
Oh, they do?
They do still do Star Wars. And Wreck-It Ralph was awesome. I like Star Wars a little better, but Wreck-It Ralph was awesome. And the fact that you can do both is great.
That's cool. Yeah, I didn't realize.
I think it's like $20, $25.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, try
and I think there's discounts for annual pass holders and DVC. World of Disney reopened in, I think, July, with what I feel is a much cleaner, much more open, much more modern, fresh, easier to navigate experience there from what it was before.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a drunk merchandise blow-up bazaar. Now the merchandise actually shines. It does. You miss some of the characters maybe up at the top, but hanging over your head as the big ornaments. But no, I like it now. I think it is cleaner. It feels less chaotic.
Yeah. And I like more of the subtle details and some of the things that happen behind the registers and some of the detail at the checkout counters themselves. Even some of the projections on the floors and on the walls. You're right. It's cleaner. It's open. Even a little guy like me can stand at one end and look and see where I want to navigate, and it's easier to navigate too to find stuff.
Right. You never used to say, "What room am I in? Am I in the watches, the men's clothing?"
Because they were closed off. The rooms were closed off, and it felt very claustrophobic.
Like the displays were high, so like you could lose the person you were with like in the blink of an eye. I love the new layout. I love the new layout. You can see where you are and where people are.
And that's been mirrored over in Disneyland, too, and their downtown Disney, that same type of cleaner experience. We did lose little mismatched, although we also lose the Disney Design-A-Tee. Remember Design-A-Tee? Like the little Hanes? But yeah, nope. It's been there for like 10 years. I remember when it first opened, you can go in and design your own T-shirt. A T-shirt, John, is the thing that you put on. Never mind. It's not there anymore, but we got Terralina Crafted Italian, which opened June 28th, which is the James Beard chef Tony Mantuano. Although I do miss the little meatball bar that they used to have. There used to be a meatball bar inside. Have you ever listened to a show that you're not? Have you ever listened to a show that I'm on? Period. Chicken Guy opened on August 3rd. Wolfgang Puck's Bar and Grill opened. The Four Rivers Food Truck opened. Oh yeah, Big Daddy. Wine Bar George. And most of these places I have not been to Wine Bar George yet.
Oh, it's good.
I have not been to Wolfgang Puck as yet. I do dig me some Chicken Guy. So there was a lot of little things that came. Oh, there was the Kingdom Hearts preview thing that just opened up, which, when it first opened, the line of Kingdom Hearts fans, Becky crying to walk in.
I'm a big Kingdom Hearts fan. I don't want to ruin the game for myself. It's pre-ordered. It comes January 29th.
I'm not a Kingdom Hearts guy. Like, I dig me some video games because clearly...
Try it.
I did. I played when I was there. You can go and play, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Are you
I didn't date a lot very much. I'm still playing Spider-Man, which is far and away the best video game of all time ever. Go out and get it right now if you haven't before. What do you think... Is there anything else that's new that came to Disney Springs this year?
Disney Style. They have the Disney Style store, which is sort of they call it the Instagram store. But I do. I mean, it's sort of like, but no, I just think it's one more sort of nod to their public. Like, I think Disney just gets it. They're just getting it. Yeah, they know what people want. They know what people like. It's like it's not for children, but it is Disney. Like, it's that fun Disney. It's not.
Which is exactly what people have been complaining about for years. The Disney store, you couldn't walk into a Disney store at the mall. Malls were places you used to go to. But people complained for years, you can't go into the Disney store and buy clothes for adults. Now,
other than T-shirts, but now they're catering to it. I mean, between like places like the dress shop at Cherry Tree Lane, which has beautiful sort of vintage style Disney themed dresses, and now you can also get like matching ties and bow ties for men there. Yes, and Disney Style, which is it's very casual, but it's for adults, and it's sort of it's geared toward adults. I just think like across the board they're just recognizing their audience, and
they definitely listen. They absolutely pay attention.
I think this year was the AMC upgrades for the Dolby Theater and stuff like that.
The Atmos Theater is so good.
That is amazing. I think they're doing it to all their theaters. Well, some others. I know they're gutting other theaters, and they're going to become that. That is a different movie-going experience.
You go see Avengers Endgame or Far From Home and Air, your butt rumbles. It's phenomenal. What's the best new addition to Disney Springs in 2018?
Oh, Maria and Enzo was not 2018, but I would have picked that. Was it 2018?
I think so.
Because Edison opened on New Year's Eve, and it was the first of them.
Pizza Ponte, Edison, Maria and Enzo, the Hideaway.
Yeah.
So you say which one?
Maria and Enzo's.
Okay. Where we did a dinner review there. That's right.
The rice bowls, you had 37?
Shush, man.
They were great.
Oh, I'm so hungry right now.
The Edison was technically New Year's Eve, 2017, but I'm still going to say the Edison. They're using that space so well. I love the parties they're having.
I haven't actually spent any time at the Edison, but I do like Wine Bar George. I really, really like that space because it's very casual and it's got the small bites, and you don't have to go there.
And its name is Wine Bar, which.
Okay, yeah, but their food is really good too. So it's a great place to just stop for a snack as you're shopping. I really enjoy the space.
Yeah, I haven't been there. I wanted to give that some time. You've never been either? There's a lot of places that we need to go and visit and eat. I did try the Four Rivers food truck. If you've never had Four Rivers and want some like really good barbecue and stuff, and they have like this giant taco cone. Oh, it's phenomenal. I don't know what I would say is the best new addition, but I have to tell you, I'm really impressed with Chicken Guy. The quality of the food, everything is it's hand-pounded chicken. It's made fresh. It's super inexpensive. Like, you can get a full meal for $11, $12, no joke. Like, you can feed a family of four there for under $50 easily and have food to spare.
Question.
Yeah.
Chicken Guy versus Homecoming. Because I haven't
It's
been
different.
to-
It's completely different.
Okay.
So Chicken Guy is quick service. So quick service, Becky, is when you actually walk up and they hand you your food and you bring it to your... Actually, no, they bring it to your table. You'd love it. They use the pucks. They'll bring it to your table. They've got 30-some-odd different sauces to choose from.
Yeah.
They're big pieces of pounded chicken. They're not nuggets. They're not strips. It's not processed. You can if you want to be crazy and healthy, you can get the grilled stuff.
Okay.
But it's super. It's delicious.
I haven't
So
tried it yet. So, hey, lunch.
lunch.
Meals are $4.95.
Yeah.
Like $4.95 for a kid, which is awesome. Like Homecoming is my children's favorite restaurant on property, so like we go there a lot. But it's it's an investment. It's not somewhere I'm going to stop by before a movie like without making plans for it necessarily. Usually, but no, I mean you can like get a kid's meal for $4.95 and like a salad or chicken for yourself for $7.95. I mean it's and they have milkshakes and stuff. Like it's really good.
I think 5 tenders are $7 or $7.99, and 5 is tough to finish. Like we were there, like it was. And look at look at me, it was tough to finish. But and they've got the sauce. They have a sauce dude that walks around and like squirt sauces.
Cool.
It's like a sauce. He's like a sauce cowboy because he has like a holster.
There is a
He does. He's like a
sauce dude for them.
He's got a name. He's got it because he wears like the vest. He's like the sauce slinger. Oh, a sauce slinger. That's what he is. He's a sauce slinger.
Fun. Okay.
It is.
Gotta go.
It's awesome. I'm famished, by the way.
Yeah, really. We're getting hungry now. Let's move this.
Quickly, just a couple of losses. Again, with everything that's new, some things have to go away. Stitch's Great Escape in Tomorrowland closed. The death knell had sounded for that for a while ago. Becky is literally doing cartwheels on the opposite side of the table.
It was never my favorite way back when.
It was never
my chili dog.
When it was Alien Encounter, it was a place to avoid, and so that was,
what?
Oh yeah, so
Alien Encounter was awesome.
When you're like,
And the Alien Encounter was a groundbreaking attraction for Walt Disney
That's the
World.
most excitement I had all week was getting my back licked by.
Well, that speaks different volumes about other things, but
took on my claustrophobia and took it to a whole new level.
Alien Encounter was a game changer in Walt Disney World history.
I agree.
Because it was the very first attraction that I felt, and I did a full DSI on it way back when. I really look at that attraction. It was a game changer in terms of upping the thrill level and the scare level for a demographic that had been previously underserved, which was the teen, tween, young adult market. So to know that you can go in and get a little bit of a scare, and even the technology of the alien breathing on your
neck.
He wasn't licking the back of your neck. You're a weirdo. It was breathing on the back of your neck. You had that hot breath. I love that exponentially more than Stitch's Great Escape. The audio animatronic was a remarkable technological feat.
like the animatronic.
What I didn't like was the story or lack thereof, and that's where I sort of felt the attraction was weak.
There was no repeat value.
Right.
Yeah.
But there are rumors, and there are rumors that we know what it is. There are rumors that there's potentially a Wreck-It Ralph attraction going on
I was
there.
going to say, hopefully there's like rainbows and unicorns in that building so I can go back in it again and feel comfortable.
But you say you're dark and twisty. That's why I
am
figured
dark and
that's.
twisty, but not being held down with something licking the back of my neck. It's just,
It was well done. Look, I missed, Flight to the Moon and Mission to Mars because as a kid I believed, that seat was rumbling and the rocket was taking off. Becky, I know too you'll be devastated about the fact that Rafiki's Planet Watch closed in October. I'm curious to see what that space is going to be used.
Where are the baby?
Well, there's rumor that it's going to come back as a different experience because remember, for a lot of families that have younger kids, that was a great diversionary experience. You boarded the train, you felt like you were going somewhere else. You could interact with live animals, right? Like remembers like
Kingdom. You
nobody
need that
Remembers Grandma's Duck Farm, Minnie Moo, Minnie Moo. You don't remember Minnie Moo? Minnie Moo the cow. Do you ever live to? So I do. I wrote Walt Disney World trivia books. Minnie Moo was a cow that had a huge hidden Mickey, on her fur, and she was at Grandma's Duck Farm.
You should write a book. You seem to know a lot about this.
totally missed that.
I'm sending you all. They're out of print, but.
Sorry.
And the other loss that I want to talk about, just because I think it and he bears mentioning in 2018, was Stan Lee.
Yeah.
Way to bring the room down, Mangello. But I did. We did a live show a day or two after he passed. I think as time goes on, history will look back on Stan Lee, and his name will be mentioned alongside the Lucases. It's not blasphemous to say the Disneys because of, look, this 10 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the rise and the growth of comic fandom is directly attributable to what Stan Lee did. You talk about a groundbreaking person in this pre-golden age of comics. That's what he did. And anybody that you talk to that ever met him said he was the nicest, most welcoming, humble, funny guy. Like, there was no air about him. There was no bravado. I'm not a person that like cares about meeting celebrities and something. I wouldn't have minded just,
he would have been a good one
saying they, I mean, everybody says, oh, thank you so much. But, so I know Stan knows. We talk amongst ourselves. But yeah, I think that was a huge loss. And I love the outpouring of love that I saw online for him. So you guys, I'm assuming none of you were comic book people growing up.
Yeah, we know Stan Lee.
Anything else? So before we move out of Walt Disney World, anything else you want to touch on there? A change, a loss, an addition? No? All right, let's quickly move over to Disneyland. I give love to both coasts. It's WDW Radio, a misnomer for many, many ways, but there's no way I can change it now.
Disney all the time.
Yeah. Out of the 200 domain names that I have ordered, there's about 20 of them that I've considered. Pixar Pier and Pixar Fest over in Disneyland. OMG, how much fun did we have?
Much fun.
Pixar Pier, again, I think it was one of those things that when it was announced, it was like, you're just going to put a little, you're sort of
You're dressing it up.
Putting lipstick on the pig to use not at all. By re-theming that area to those different neighborhoods, all that had different elements, and by different elements, of course, I mean different food items, and the Lamplight Lounge, some of the
story in there.
Theming and the entertainment that they brought over to that section of the park, it gave it brand new life.
Oh my gosh, that same feeling when they first announced it was like, okay, well they're just going to re-up it because it's California and it's getting kind of tired. But they did such an amazing job that you feel like you're walking into a brand new park. And one of the things I think we enjoyed most was the food, because there was some really cool varieties of food options that they had there. But from the ice cream to the Lamplight Lounge to the chicken, I forget the name of the place, but it was really cool just to get that little walk-away chicken thing. Oh, and then the little angry guy hot dog thing. He looks just like you when you get upset. It's funny.
I think if we took a poll and asked which of the two of us was the angrier...
Totally you.
Okay.
Anyway. But it was so unique and so cute. And the detail in there, of course, like at the hot dog stand where they have the different types of sauces that start from... slightly annoyed all the way up to really, really angry or whatever.
Becky level?
Yeah, pretty much when I'm with you.
the Becky in the heat around children level.
Yes, exactly, like right now, trying to avoid the sunshine. Be quiet. I know I left that totally open for you, didn't I?
Trying to avoid the sunshine.
It's warm right here. Okay, anyway. See, thank you. Thank you for coming to my rescue there for a second.
It's shining right on.
Why didn't you come to my rescue? Anyway, so I think that was such a brilliant... it's not even an overlay. It is really a new land within the space. And the coaster, what they did with the Incredibles and how they put a story over that coaster, it wasn't, again, just an overlay. It was a full new story attached to an attraction. I really enjoyed it there, and I want to go back.
And we will go back. Obviously, D23 coming up this year. But I think that was only part of... Look, I think Disney California Adventure, and as time goes on and we look back, has gone through a remarkable transformation from what it first was, and a park that never really understood what it wanted to be and what its story was and what its theming is. Now that you not only have Cars Land, which, other than maybe some of the stuff I've seen in Tokyo, is still probably the most well-themed land. Obviously, Galaxy's Edge is going to, take that to a whole nother level. But as long as we're staying there, they announced Marvel Superheroes Land that's coming. some losses. Heimlich's Choo Choo Train is unfortunately gone. Like a Thanos snap. Half of DCA just goes away. And yeah, everybody's talking about Galaxy's Edge, but look, and I know I'm sort of alluding to what we're going to talk about in coming in 2019, but when I saw the Spider-Man attraction concept art, I got a little verklempt. A lot. An Avengers coaster, Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, restaurants. I mean, I think this summer we're going to hear a lot more and see a lot more about that at D23 Expo. Like, that is reason alone. Are you going to Expo? Are you going to Expo? Maybe. What's wrong with you? What do you mean maybe?
Maybe.
Do it for BigFatPanda.com.
I'm scared to fly, but I will do it.
I've
been.
Take a train.
Can you wait? You can?
Of course you can take a train.
All right, that might be a thing.
Get in a car. Never mind.
Anyway.
So I think there's I think there were some changes that came to California Adventure this year that really make that park a lot more interesting and attractive, especially from what it was, and then obviously when the Marvel Land opens. We saw not just, we obviously love Guardians of the Galaxy. You rode Guardians of the Galaxy out there, right? Amazing.
Twice. Love it.
Becky calls it a party and a ride.
It's a party and a
It
ride.
is a party.
And then there was the Halloween overlay.
That's exactly where I was going to go. That was so refreshing to go on. It just changes at 1 hour, like at 6 o'clock, and everything turns to a little darker in California Adventure. And all of a sudden, you get on the ride, and it's completely different from anything that they do during the day.
Is it still Guardians Halloween or no? Oh, okay.
Yeah. And from the moment you walk in, it has changed. So some of the storyline has changed, and it really was a fun
And that's what that
time,
attraction lends itself to so well, is how quickly you can swap the stories out.
Yeah.
Quickly moving over to Disney Cruise Line, Oh, How I Love You So. They did announce that they purchased, and I think we sort of knew this for a while, they purchased another island
That did go through? The Lighthouse went through?
The Lighthouse, right. So it's Lighthouse Point, which is an island on the Eleuthera. It's Lighthouse Point. We're just going to call it Lighthouse Point. They haven't exactly said what they're going to do with it or when, but obviously there's 3 new ships coming to the fleet. Yay! That I think we all enjoy the cruise experience. So
But Disney
can't wait to see
Cruise,
that.
For me, definitely the highlight of cruising for me. Not just because I'm a Disney fan, I love everything about the Disney Cruise.
So I dig it so very much. Otherwise, no other changes, anything Disney Cruise Line related?
We're all sitting just waiting in anticipation for some news about what the new ships are going to look like.
Name a ship.
The Dream.
No. Name a new ship. Name one of the new. Sorry, let me be clear. Name one of the new ships.
Hold on.
I'm going to give each of you a ship name. To name. Go ahead.
Give me a moment. Come back to me.
The Dreamfinder.
The Wish, the Inspiration.
No,
or the
you get
Marvel?
one. Pick one.
The Marvel, the Wish, or the Inspiration.
The Fantasia.
Interesting.
I think it's going to be the Wish. I think we're going to have.
I think the Wish is going to be
The
one.
Fantasia too much like fantasy.
Yeah.
Dreamfinder too much like dream.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then again, they have Wilderness Lodge and Fort Wilderness Lodge.
I mean, I think the Marvel would be an awesome name, just because it's got such a double touch to it.
The Marvel would be
or the
good.
fantasy or the Marvel. I mean,
The Marvel would be a good
I
name.
like
Yeah.
the Marvel.
So
Marvel characters all the time, and Thor would be there. It'd be awesome.
So I think we also need to touch, I want to touch too quickly on the international parks as well as the domestics. I think it's important to remember that Disneyland Paris, which had previously not been, is now under complete control over the Walt Disney Company. They announced a $2 billion expansion to the park with a Star Wars themed land, or Frozen land, and a Marvel Superheroes land is going to be coming to Disneyland Paris in the next couple of years. Their Rock and Roller Coaster is going to be getting a Marvel overhaul. There's going to be some new attractions as well. That resort over the next 7 to 10 years is probably going to not just grow, but probably double from what it is now in terms of attendance.
Which is why we have to go now, so we can compare it as it grows and changes.
Let's go. A little quick research trip. We're going to just take a quick jaunt over. In Hong Kong, their Marvel Superheroes Land is getting. They had the Iron Man experience, which was very, very cool. That's going to be growing into a Superheroes Land, a Frozen roller coaster, and interesting. Their castle is getting they're not just repainting the castle; they're rebuilding the castle, like from ground zero. It's a teeny tiny little castle, and it's like Disneyland. It's cute and it's quaint, but it's dwarfed because of something you don't see in any other Disney park, which is this magnificent, giant mountain range right behind it. So it looks much, much smaller than it really is. So it's going to go from the smallest to, I believe, the biggest of all of the castles. It might be.
Well, I thought it was going to be like almost a replica of the Disney World.
Is it?
I
have to go there. I'll have to go there and see for myself. Over at Tokyo, there's going to be a new Beauty and the Beast land, a restaurant, and a dark ride. And we've seen some of the previews of some of the audio animatronic figures, which look like they're real people. It's crazy.
The animatronics are amazing. And you know what? I don't know. Real people, it looks like the cartoon came.
Like, in terms of the movement.
Seeing Belle with the lantern and her reaction looking around is just, I wish we had that ride. I wish we were getting a Beauty and the Beast ride. Can you imagine a Be Our Guest scene on a dark ride? Gosh.
Disney Sea, not that it needs anything new added to it. It's getting Frozen and Tangled and Peter Pan and a number of new attractions, as well as a new deluxe hotel as well. Like, if you've never visited the overseas parks, they are giving you all the more reasons to do it. Better yet, all the more reasons to do it as a group. It's just what I'm saying.
Working on that other one. But you know what I would love to see come back somewhere, any park, anywhere that we can go see it? That walkthrough from Hong Kong. Oh, yeah. Do you think that we might see some of that technology somewhere?
Without a doubt. If you go back and listen to our our China recap show, they had a temporary, it almost looked like they put a lot of trailers together and opened them up, and it was a temporary walk/run through attraction with Doctor Strange and Thor and Black Widow. It was, you didn't listen to that show? Wow.
Wow, yeah.
Anywho, you didn't either?
Oh, I did.
Does anybody listen to it?
No, we did.
Whatever.
We loved it.
It's insane. It's temporary, and I think that was very much a test bed for something that they want to bring domestically.
I sure hope so, because we were just talking about that with some other guests last night, talking about how it was so incredibly cool. You run into the room that's completely dark, and then Doctor Strange opens up the portal, which was, remember? We didn't even know that was there.
I remember only the Marvel characters spoke English, so we really didn't know exactly what was going on. But the technology and the story and the interactive element of it was incredibly cool. It was cool. So
hopefully we'll see it.
So anything else park related wise before I sort of move out of the theme parks, domestically, internationally?
I thought we were already on cruise ships and stuff. So.
We were, but because I want to move from the park and cruise ship experience, because I do want to touch on the movies, because I think the movies are as much of an element, especially now more than ever, as much as they are coming into the parks. I, for one, was sad to see a Galaxy without a Guardian because of the whole James Gunn incident.
Is that being solved?
They fired him. Yeah,
but it's still a stalemate as far as the next movies.
Right now, the movies, it's
on hold.
And unfortunately, what happened was a lot of the pre-production crew got let go. I mean, there was a huge fallout for that, not just for us as fans and for the actors, but there was a lot of people already working on that film that lost their jobs because of it. And I don't want to get into a debate about the tweets or how long ago they were. I mean, kids, valuable lesson to be learned. Anything you post on social will stay with you literally forever. And it doesn't matter if you're James Gunn in the midst of a multi-billion-dollar franchise. They will let you go without even thinking about it. I mean, that was a decision that happened, very, very quickly. So he's left. He's moved on to, in my opinion, not so greener pastures at another studio. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with the third Guardians film. That being the case, as we look back to some of what happened, the studios, again, just dominate the box office. I'm going to quickly go through the releases from 2018, Wrinkle in Time, a little indie film called Infinity War, Solo, A Star Wars Story, Incredibles 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Christopher, Tears, Robin, Nutcracker and the Four Realms, Ralph Breaks the Internet, Mary Poppins Returns, Black Panther. It was, hit after hit after hit after hit. Thoughts on any of the films, the studios as a whole, favorite film from 2018?
They're knocking it out of the park. Incredibles 2 I thought was fantastic. I sat through it 3 times without issue. I loved all of them. I think I didn't see Nutcracker. There was nothing in the trailer that like yelled at me to go see it. I thought Mary Poppins Returns was fabulous.
So I haven't seen Mary Poppins Returns yet. I'm excited to see that, hopefully this weekend. We can talk all day about Infinity War, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was the giant standout. But Christopher Robin, I loved Christopher Robin. That movie spoke to me on so many levels. I thought it was so beautifully done. So, I mean, setting Infinity War aside, my personal favorite and standout was Christopher Robin.
I didn't get to see that one yet, or Mary Poppins Returns. Sorry, some of us are working here.
Oh,
FYI. For me, I saw Solo. I saw Incredibles 2. I loved Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think that was cool because it's tying together the storyline that we're getting from Infinity War to that into when we're going into the last chapter. But for me, because I was so engrossed in it, it was Infinity War, because I've been waiting for that. I've been anticipating that. I've loved all these characters since the comic book, so I knew what happened in Infinity War from the comic book side, and then to see it play out in a different way on screen. And when the snap occurred, all of a sudden I have theories going through my head of what's going on. Some people some people like sitting there with tissues and crying. I'm not crying. I'm like going, this is cool because this is how he's going to come back. So I'm really excited about what's coming for 19 on that. But Infinity War was definitely the movie for me for 18.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Infinity War set and broke, domestic and international box office records, not just in terms of in Disney history, but, movie history. Black Panther, one of the top, I think it's the third highest grossing film of all time. Truly a phenomenon in terms of an introduction for a lot of people into the comic book movie genre. The crowds were not only bigger and enthusiastic, but, kids and adults were coming in costume and going to the theaters as an observer of the guests, and the way they were responding to the film was as interesting as the film was itself. I loved Christopher Robin. Was it a box office, explosion? No, but I don't think it needed to be. Same thing with Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ant-Man and the Wasp was a good, emotional palate cleanser after the ending of Infinity War. It didn't need to be this grand, epic battle type of film, which is one of the reasons why I loved it so much. Incredibles 2, again, a huge surprise. And Mary Poppins was the surprise for me. I went in, and I said this the other night on the live show. I did a full review on the Wednesday night, which you can find the video on Facebook. But I went in very hesitant, very cautious, very suspect of the concept of Mary Poppins Returns. And I was very, very pleasantly surprised. And I look forward to taking my kids to go see it to get their reaction from it as well. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say on Marvel, going back to that really quickly with the Ant-Man and the Wasp, I very much admire the way that they have taken this entire story arc and how things tie into each other. And one of the reasons why I was so enthralled with Ant-Man and the Wasp was that now you see what those characters were doing while all this other stuff was going on, because you kind of, through these, because you don't know who's going to show up at any given time, you're thinking, where the heck was he this entire time? It answered those questions, which keeps you focused on and having to see whatever's coming next. And they just do a fantastic job of weaving it together on different story arcs.
And also, I mean, when Infinity War ended, especially the first time I watched it when I was at my angriest, I was like, and now we're supposed to go watch Paul Rudd play Ant-Man? Like, how is that even going to, how are we going to sit through that? But no, it was. I mean, the emotional palate cleanser is the perfect way to describe it. I mean, I think there were enough months in between that we kind of had a moment to collect ourselves and watch the movie again and sort of realize what it was and what it wasn't. And yeah, no, I loved that they didn't try to make it something else. Like, it was still Ant-Man, it was still Paul Rudd, it was still lighthearted and fun. And then, of course, in the end, you kind of see how it all fits together, which was, pretty much what we were guessing was going to happen. So, yeah, I loved how Ant-Man was done, that it didn't try to be something that it wasn't, but it was still, playing into the arc that they're creating for all of us.
And I have to mention, it is not a Disney film per se. It's a Sony, from the same company that somehow brought you the Emoji Movie, brings you Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I am taking my glasses off. it is not just one of the best films of not forget animated films. It's one of the best films of 2018.
Really?
It is without a doubt one of the best comic book movie adaptations, and I think the only true comic book movie, because when you watch that film, especially on the early days of comic books, when you watch it, the way it is animated looks like they took pages of a comic book and animated it on the screen. You see the little Ben Ray dots, you see the overlap of the blues and the reds that would sort of bleed over from the early printing. It's incredible. It speaks to a new generation. It's fun. It's funny. Every part of that movie I just love.
You sold me. I got to go see it.
You do. And I know, I'm little Spider Boy in his underoos, but I think you don't even need to be a Spider-Man fan to appreciate it. I think the voice acting, I think Chris Pine and Jake Johnson and Nicolas Cage were phenomenal. I know, you're...
John Mulaney.
Yeah.
John Mulaney is one of my favorite comedians of all time, and he plays the Spider-Ham character. I love him. If you have kids who have started to wet their feet in the comic book universe with all of the live action style movies, take them to this movie, because I have never enjoyed watching my kids watch a movie as much as I enjoyed watching them watch Spider-Verse. I mean, they were so into it that we kept having to go shh, because they were like, "What's happening? What's he doing?" And they're laughing so hard. It was true animation, like you don't get now with the superhero stuff, since so much of it is sort of a more adult level. I mean, they like all of the other Marvel movies that have been coming out, but watching them watch Into the Spider-Verse was just so much fun.
And I think it's a great introduction to comic books too. So, and I only say this so I brought all the kids comic books and I gave out to all the kids. There was 8 of us, 7 kids, and I gave them all a comic book because I wanted that, even if it was just for one of them, for that to be the jumping off point to go from the movies to comics, which maybe they hadn't read earlier. And I think it's a great bridge. But I think it's beautiful. I loved the music. I loved every single part of it. And I know it's not a Disney thing, and I don't care, because Spidey and Stan Lee and Marvel,
all you need.
11. It's turned up to 11.
Cool.
I'm going to go see it again.
And Maddox drove home with his face buried in that Spider-Man comic book that you had given him. It was, it worked. It was like seeing them enjoy what they've been getting doses of in all of these live action movies, just in a different way. And it ties into all the Disney. It was fantastic.
And I think, sort of wrapping that all up in a bow, and I know it's not complete as yet, but the big elephant in the room is the Fox and Disney agreeing to the deal. We've talked about it on the show at length in terms of what this is going to mean, not just for the movies and the theme parks. Obviously, Disney announced details of their Disney Plus streaming service. We've seen a lot of the Marvel characters being taken off of Netflix, so you can sort of see the worm starting to turn in terms of where content is going to go. We have to assume that this deal is probably going to close within the next 3 to 6 months. And I have a feeling that plans are already, underway for preparing for when that happens. And, when you start to have access to Avatar and The Simpsons and the X-Men and the entire, other litany of Marvel characters, my mind is already wondering, who are they going to cast? And so this is almost a question for, you guys can think about it on the spot, or you who are listening. Who would you cast for the roles of the Fantastic Four? Who would you cast for the X-Men? Who would you cast as... Look, Charlie Cox was great on Netflix as Daredevil, but, who could potentially be the new Daredevil? Who will be the Kingpin? I know I'm getting way comic book nerdy, but as we start to talk about the movies and think about the movies, those are some of the things that I think about. So 2019 is going to be a very interesting year as we start to address it. I do want to quickly go through some of the WDW Radio / personal things that happened in probably very bad chronological order. I celebrated 13 years, and I say we celebrated 13 years podcasting. If you would have told me in the spring of 2005 that 2005 was a long time ago, that I would still be doing this, I would have told you that you were crazy because the whole podcast thing was very much a leap of faith, but February marked 13 years of doing it in one form or another. Thank you for the gift of allowing me to do that. Wait, before we get to that, I hate to go to the running stuff, but we have to marathon weekend in January. Yes, we survived another year of marathon weekend. More importantly, they could leave that door open. That was such a nice blast of cool air. We're saying that at the end of December, by the way. One of the things that is about marathon weekend for me is it's about the cheering and the sweaty hugs and the laughter and all that kind of stuff like that. But the meat of the month, which is actually where the meat of the month began, was 11 years ago over marathon weekend. We once again got to meet our Make-A-Wish family. That's what all this other stuff is about. Like, it's the good that we're able to do for others, and being able to meet that family and give them gifts and hear their reactions and their stories is far and away, other than Into the Spider-Verse, the most rewarding part of everything that we do. Congratulations to all of you who ran, walked, cheered, 5, 10, half K, dopey, whatever it might be. And I just realized that marathon weekend's just like a week and a half away.
Remember all those things that we said we were going to do last year?
Yes.
That we were going to all remember?
Yes.
Do you still have the list?
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Somewhere I do.
We have days.
We got to sample sort of a quick one-day Star Wars day at sea, and I thought about that because I was going through my calendar. I remembered how good the food was. They did like a little, a one-day sort of press visit on the cruise, and I'm like, I need to go back just because they had this eggplant thing that was so delicious for Star Wars Day at Sea. Princess Weekend was in February. One of my favorite non-Disney related events of the year is a conference called Social Media Marketing World, which was in March, which I'll go back to. I'll be speaking for my sixth time, San Diego. So nice. I got to see Infinity War out in California. I rode the elevator with, Tom Holland and we had the Momentum Retreat in June, which was, don't say it was fun. It was a very intense educational experience with a little bit of fun sprinkled on the side, right? Lisa was there for it.
Still, it was very, very work focused and intense. No, it was. It was a phenomenal weekend. It was like such a great group of people. If you ever want to do anything like that, Lou draws the most amazing folks to him, and that's who you get to spend your weekend with, like creating what you want to be doing. So it's. I mean, we kid. I mean, it is fun, but it was very productive as well.
And we're working on a date for this summer as well. Speaking of summer, I think far and away, as I look at the list, the highlight of my 2018 was the Alaska cruise in June. It's the second time that we have done it, thanks to our friends over at MEI and Mousefan Travel, but it literally was practically perfect in every single way, from the itinerary to the people to the weather. Like, it was, we've done it a couple of times. As much as I love the first one, everything about that cruise was ideal.
Yeah, on this one we definitely had the weather gods in our court because we got to see some amazing beauty. And obviously, when you're in Alaska, there is so much to see and so much to do, or so much not to do if you just want to sit on your balcony and take in the beauty of the area. I have a feeling that that's not going to be our last Alaska cruise because it is still and always has been my favorite itinerary of any of the itineraries I've ever done. And it's even more magical when you have a group of people who you know and you travel together. Some of the events that we had on board were a lot of fun. The games that we played were a lot of fun, even though there were no rules because, Lou can't make up a rule and stick to it to save his life. I know he's saying bad things about me right now. But it really was a great experience with all of us. And the thing that keeps coming back to mind, if I was going to have that experience, Tiana's place. Mm-hmm. The very first night when we all got together and everybody got to see Tiana's place for the first time, for those who hadn't been on board, that was really a cool kickoff to the entire trip.
And I think you mentioned about, going on with friends, even going on with people that you don't know, how quickly you make friends, and you could probably speak to that more.
Yeah, I mean, I think, if we ever do it again, we'll most definitely be there. It was a trip of a lifetime for me, too, in 2018. Like, it was the standout, week. It was incredible. But it's funny, like, you talk about doing it again. I don't, like, I feel like I felt like a broken record, excuse me, on the ship, because I kept saying, like, I want to do this again, but I'm almost afraid to do it again because it was so perfect. Like you said, from the itinerary to the perfect weather to the incredible group of people that we were sailing with. It was the Wonder, which is just sort of an intimate ship experience. Just everything about that trip was so perfect that I'm the first one that's going to be signing up if we do it again, but at the same time, like, it'll be like almost nervously because I just feel like you could never replicate the perfection of that week. And for me, like, Tiana's is for you. For me, it's Animator's Palette. Like, especially the first time that we saw that gorgeous, display sort of play out at the end of the night, and the interactive portion of that, the last night with the drawings with the kids, like. Just everything about that trip, it was definitely like my standout week of 2018.
Cruising is definitely better when you do it with friends. Yep. You got to come next time.
Alaska, you have a possibility of getting me. I want to go.
It's a long flight. There's a 3-day train ride.
There's some sedatives I could take and get on that.
But even we flew into Seattle and then we took the train. Like, I could have gone home right. I was like, that was just so nice and so much fun. And again, it's a testament not just to you, but to the community. Like, such a nice group of people. Like, it is. Group. It's like traveling with family without the arguments.
Yes.
It is, because when you get to with family, after a while, family, like, all right, 3-4 days, you've had enough. But, some of my best memories of that cruise were having a chance to just sit down with people up on. There was one person whose name I won't mention. Yes, I was getting pizza at like 12 o'clock at night, and he was sitting up there, and we just sat there for like an hour and just chatted and, listened to the water and the people running, and it was wonderful. And that's one of the things that I loved and appreciated about that. Mm-hmm. And Cabanas.
Oh,
and Tiana's. One of the things I'm not done. And Apollo brunch. And Apollo dinner.
One of the things that's amazing about cruising with a group that maybe you don't know everybody or you haven't met people in the community. If you come along with us, you're already with us. You're already a friend. You're already a piece of the family. And you might have your husband or your wife may not like to do some of the excursions that are offered. There's somebody else in the group that will go. So you're not going to experience something just because someone in your family doesn't really want to do that. That happens with my husband and I. He likes to do the zip lining and the crazy stuff and the train. I'm not that, which sorry, that whole heights thing, possible earthquakes, it scares me. Anyway, so look at that face.
I'll have a cup of coffee and look at the train.
Hey, he was talking about he can't fly. I can't do train. Anyway, so it's really cool, though, because we do have a couple of different excursion experiences that people can choose from, and we all go together so we can have this experience together as friends.
Yeah, it is... And I think it's why I enjoy doing it so much, is not just because of where we go, but who you do it with. Yeah. It really does make all the difference. Speaking of who we do it with, July we were able to go out and experience Pixar Pier together. Didn't kill each other again after a high five up top. Woo! There you go. I only mention this just because if you haven't been here, I think you should. I was able to spend as a surprise my birthday in Vero Beach with my family. And have you been to Vero Beach?
I have not.
Ay, Dios. Have you been to Vero Beach?
I haven't been.
We need to do a group event in Vero Beach. I mean, forget what I just said. But we're going to do a group event in Vero Beach. It is such a nice escape and getaway. Yes. It's like Aulani. It's the Disney experience without it being...
the theme park crazy.
Right. It's not... Yeah. It's wonderful and relaxing, and the beach is beautiful, and the food's delicious, too. Let's see, August, I traveled a lot this summer. Speaking, I went out and went and spoke at the Indie Disney Meet, which was an amazing... It's incredible what the fan community is able to pull together to gather people from the... where it's as far away from a theme park as you could be. They were able to pull 600-700 people in from the Midwest, and again, a really good group of people come. I think good people attract good people, and that's what they do out there. I spoke the day after, which was not necessarily the smartest idea, but I spoke the day after in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, home of Rolling Rock, Mr. Rogers. Do you people not pay attention to anything that I do?
Oh, yeah.
So, I spoke out there, and again, I only say this to thank so many people that came out. A grilled cheese place opened up for us on a Sunday. They made a Becky sandwich. They made a Mangel sandwich.
That was awesome.
And, 50 people drove. Some people drove like 6 hours to be out there. And again, that's a testament to the community. We had Momentum, the third year of Momentum, October. Speaking of, Dan Crocker was our keynote speaker this year. I turned right around for Momentum. I didn't even bother unpacking my bag because we went out to our Adventures by Disney Backstage Magic right after. And, we talked about it. We did an entire show about the experience and some of the things we saw, some of the special things that we did, and why doing these things together makes them better, especially when it's the community doing it together. But it is some of those special touches that we wouldn't have gotten to do otherwise. Going into Walt's office, spending that time in there was one of those, hallmark checkbox experiences.
Yeah, and I just want to also kind of reiterate that particular itinerary was special to us. We did a buyout and we created that itinerary, so it's not something that you're going to get if you just go to ABD Direct, which is why I always say, it's a really good idea to watch out for the itineraries that we do together, because there's always some element that you're not going to get on the Adventures by Disney that you're doing direct with them.
So I think after the Backstage Magic, still one of my favorite, still overlooked events in Walt Disney World is right down the road, the Swan and Dolphin Food and Wine Classic. It is 2 days of food and fun and food and food. This was your first time doing it?
So much food. Yeah, we had such a good time. It's a lot of food. It's a lot of food.
Don't say it like it's a bad thing, because it's all included with your writband.
It is all included. All the beer and wine and good, really good food. Blue Zoo has a table, and it's
without the lines and craziness of the Food and Wine Festival at Walt. Have you ever done this before?
Which one?
Food and Wine Classic?
No.
What's wrong with you? It's a stretchy pants weekend. You've never done it either, have you?
Once with you didn't invite me again.
And they have fried Oreos.
Your husband had about 33 fried. But they have theme. They have a Chinatown section, a Carnival section, the Champagne Bubbles Lounge. Becky, there's a lot of things to drink there, so don't you worry.
You'll be on the itinerary.
You're fine.
We'll add it to the list.
You're invited this year. Here you go.
Thank you.
Anything I do, for the most part, you're invited this year. So you've heard the blanket invitation, and then finally was Destination D celebrating Mickey's 90th. I'm sure we missed things. I'm sure there was a lot of what?
Yes, the e-ticket event.
Oh,
hello.
Oh my God, the e-ticket event. I completely forgot.
This is why you have me around, isn't it?
Yes, this is exactly why I have. How did I forget about the e-ticket event?
I do not know why, but you're like 4 shades of red right now. Yes, you forgot about the e-ticket event, which is something, the only time besides Alaska Cruise that we've ever repeated an event, because it was that good.
And it was repeated, but not the same.
Yeah.
There were added elements and new stuff. So, forgive me, I completely forgot. So the e-ticket event weekend was the Twilight at the Tower event, where after the park closes, we rent out the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror this is something we knew we did this year, was we had somebody from Imagineering come to speak to us at a venue. I could say who it was, Stephen Vagnini, you know him from D23 and so many of the other events.
Fantastic
came to
speaker.
Seeing a lot of stuff that we've never seen before in terms of concept art and stories about the tower. Then we had dinner and dessert at the tower. There was a special character that was there to greet us that you will never see any other time. We got to go into the lobby. The stanchions came down, photos galore, cats and dogs living together. It was pandemonium. And then we got to ride, and it was just phenomenal. And then the following day, we did the quest. So I did my first Disneyland quest during D23 Expo last year. We loved it so much we did it again. It was 5 hours of 450 questions taking you through Disney's Hollywood Studios. She's getting angry again.
How much did you hate him?
No, I think it was 4.5 hours and 425 questions in the lobby of the Muppet Vision 3D. No, it was fun. It was fun. We had a lot of fun. It wasn't hot or anything. We didn't argue.
It wasn't hot or anything.
You want to test the limits of your friendship, come into a quest. But did you have fun and did you learn anything? The answer's got to be yes, please.
We had fun and we learned, and it was cool because like when you announced it initially, obviously you didn't say what park it was going to be, and everybody was like, well, it can't be Hollywood Studios because there's not enough there. Well, there's enough there. It kind of forces you into enjoying like the details. Like I would like to, obviously you're running from place to place because you're competing against other teams and it's a limited amount of time, but it would be fun to just like go with the question packet like for the day, and just sort of relax, like go through and see.
But that's why I do monthly quests. It's going to sound like a plug because it is. But so as part of WDW Radio Nation, I send out a quest every month to a different land or a resort or a part of the park exactly for you to do that. And if you've been a member of the nation since February 2005, you got a few questions in there. You probably have.
No, it's definitely, but like an event like that, especially, I love delving into the details of Disney and the extent to which everything speaks, but like it just sort of forces you to view it on like the next level of like just how much there is. Like it's pretty cool.
They hated me so much by the end of that day.
That seemed like a lot of questions, and I can see the hate. Yeah. I can see it.
One of the things that was really fun, though, was watching the speculation the night before when we did the meetups and we were seeing people and they were speculating that it was going to be Magic Kingdom and talking about where it could be and what they were going to do and that they had studied. People had studied.
Are they really?
Stop reminding her. The look of death that I got from her when she got the email in my presence. I don't know where we were.
You didn't give it up to her and tell her.
I didn't give it to anybody.
Oh, yeah. I like that this was kept secret.
There's only a couple of us that knew, and it was, it was... That's a great note to end 2018 on.
I forgot how much I hated you that day, Lou Mangello. That's why it was meant to be a challenge and meant to be fun, and hopefully, look...
Yeah, look at all the fun on her face.
But that and this and the show and everything that we do throughout all these years is meant to do that. It's meant for you to enjoy and appreciate the parks and the cruise and the resorts in ways that maybe you hadn't done before. Maybe experience things that you didn't know about before. Hit some of those nooks and crannies or buffets that maybe you hadn't had done before. And that's what I hope to do, as God willing, we continue in 2019. But if I asked you to sort of look back and just tell me, what as you look back on 2018, we talked a little about some of your favorite memories, but what do you think was the most impactful addition or loss or change or announcement or movie or whatever it was from the year in sort of this entire Disney connected universe?
So, after hours galore, and I ran my first Dopey, and I said Alaska was, my standout week of the year, but I'm going to be a little bit selfish and do something personal instead. For me, this was the year that we really became locals. We moved down in August of 2017, and, I would run to the window to watch the fireworks and run to the parks and do all those things, and we still do enjoy all of those things, but I think this was just sort of the year that we settled into the quiet of being a local family here and, not necessarily needing to watch the fireworks from the house every night, but, just the experience of this place has become very different to us over the course of 2018. And to me, like, it wasn't a specific event or movie or ride or, event or trip that impacted us as much as a family as just being quietly in this place for the first time.
You reminded me, we did the Moving to Disney show. That was a show literally, a decade in the making, far and away. It's not even close in terms of a show that has had, at least in terms of the return and what I hear from people, an impact. Has been actually on the way in here, walking through the parking lot, I met a family that is from New York. They said this is their last trip to Walt Disney World. Because of that show, it gave them the courage to sell their house. They're building a house right now, not far from where we all live. And sometimes people needed to hear what it's like and what that experience was like. So I didn't mean to sort of jump in, but in terms of shows, that was probably one of the most, in terms of the happiness that it gives me in terms of having a positive impact, I think that's the show that did it.
Yeah, I can't even begin to say like how many people, even to me, like who have reached out after that show and, you know, sort of asked me for tips and advice and just expressed that like hearing people who have actually done it and made it a reality. Because I think for so many people, myself included at one point in my life, it's just this pipe dream that just seems like it could never be. And, you know, in recording that show, I think people have expressed to me that, you know, seeing that people actually have made it a reality sort of made it possible in their minds as well.
I think when somebody says, what's new, you know, what for 2018, I can't help but think of Slinky Dog Dash. And I know it might be, you know, cliche, but it is the type of thing that gives you a nice little adrenaline rush, and you can experience the fun with just about anybody on that ride. So that is my big addition, fun thing.
I think that just about anybody is the most important takeaway of that part, because, you know, it goes back to what Walt's idea of what Disneyland was supposed to be. It was a place that families have fun together. Your little kids, your grandmother can all, and not just tolerate, but enjoy that ride together.
Yeah, I agree. And the excitement level still isn't kept to a point of being dull. It still is a fun ride.
And then you walk right over to Woody's lunchbox and you get something to eat.
Exactly.
All right, Becky, I've given you time to think and reflect and gather your thoughts.
Let's see, besides the personal record of being gone for 36 straight days and not seeing my house, that was probably a good one. You know, I think the highlight was in two places, and because my work pattern is different, where I am working on things in 2018 that I know we're going to do or release or announce in 2019. I'm very excited about some of the stuff that I've been working on the past 4 months. But like Backstage Magic for me, I was able to do something that I haven't ever been able to do before, which when you've been working with Disney as long as I have, there's not a lot that's left out there. That's the thing that just puts that chill up your spine. And knowing how long we worked on putting that itinerary together and how special it was, how unique it was for an Adventures by Disney, I think that, again, I have to come back to Walt's office because it all brought it full circle to me. Because when I fell in love with Disney was on, you know, Uncle Walt on TV, and to actually be there and where he stood and where he sat and where he worked and where he created was the highlight, I would say. But the rest of the time, I did the Adventures by Disney River Cruise, which is an interesting thing to discuss for someday in the future. But I had a lot of great, unique experiences on Disney property, on the cruise lines. But knowing the meetings that I've been in this year to work on things that are coming, I think that's actually a huge highlight for me, too.
So I didn't know what my answer was going to be before I asked the question. And as it was bouncing around in my mind, I thought of Alaska, I thought of events, I thought of different things that happened personally, both in the Disney space and out of the Disney space. And for me, and I'm not sure if this is going to be articulated correctly because I haven't eaten in like an hour, but what I get is from what I give, and it's the reason why I do this show and I do what I do is because I want to give people a positive thing to look forward to every week-ish. I want to give them a positive experience when they come here, and when I get the privilege and the blessing and the joy of hearing from somebody, whether it's a tweet, a messenger, an email. There's nothing better than the handshake and a hug and seeing somebody face to face and hearing how something that you did made them happy, made them smile, changed their life in a positive way. Because the stories are personal, I'll keep them personal, but I had many of those moments this year. And, you know, sometimes, you know, I answer every email personally, albeit sometimes a little late. It's because I do, because I want to read them all, and because if you're going to take the time to email me, you better believe I'm going to give you the courtesy of a response. And it's important to me that I know how what I do hopefully helps you and makes you a little bit happy. So that continues to be the greatest blessing and the reward. So there is no individual, single, quantifiable moment. It is all those moments that have been built by you, and I'm talking to you individually, who, whether we've met yet or not, are a member of this community and this family. And I sincerely appreciate you every single day, and thank you for the gift of letting me do what I do. 2018 has been the best year yet. I only look forward to seeing what 2019 has in store, not just for me and for you and for WDW Radio, but also Lisa DiNardo-Glassner at thecastlerun.com. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
And John Takeri, he is the Big Fat Panda at bigfatpanda.com.
Thank you very much. By the way, just to add to what you said, I thought the question was like attractions at Disney. You got into this existential love and heart and stuff. So I'm going with exactly what you said. So I'm taking my answer back, and I'm copying what Lou said. Thank you.
And Becky Menken, not just my more than decade-long sponsor, but friend.
12 years now. Can you believe it? It's going to be 12 years. And we haven't killed each other. Woohoo! But so I guess we should. 2019's in how many days from now?
Stop. I'm not quite ready yet.
We should probably work out our agreement for next year pretty soon because of all the stuff we have planned and coming up, which I'm so excited for. And we get to spend a lot of time together in 2019.
We were having a nice day, and you had to go there. But I want to thank all of you around the table. I want to thank you, the listener, who is sitting at this table on this beautiful December afternoon on the boardwalk with us. I want to know from you, what was your favorite, most important, most impactful, most fun or memorable moment of 2018? You can go to WDWRadio.com/community. That'll take you to our Box People group on Facebook. Come by, join, introduce yourself, and share your memories there. Also, don't forget to like the page. You can also call the voicemail and tell me crying is even better. It's podcast called 407-900-9391. And I look forward to continuing our adventures together in 2019. Let's eat. Hashtag stay home.
Happy places we love to hold near and dear. And when we're making memories, happy days can reappear.
It's time for our Walt Disney World Trivia Question of the Week, where I invite you to test your knowledge of Walt Disney World history, or I want to see how well you pay attention to the details, sometimes in what you see, or hear, or eat, and taste. And if you know the answer, you can enter via our online form for a chance to win a Disney prize package. Of course, before we get to this week's question, we're going to go back, review last week's, and select our winner. So last week I shared some interviews and conversations with some of the songwriters and director of Mary Poppins Returns, which if you haven't seen it yet, you need to go see it and go tune in to last week's live show on Facebook. You can watch the replay video where I not only share my complete review, but have a conversation with other listeners about it as well. But anyway, I wanted to talk about Mary Poppins in Walt Disney World. And I asked you, in which Walt Disney World resort could you find a fountain and bronze statues of characters, I made this really easy for you, from the original film? Once again, thanks to the hundreds of you who got this one correct. I guess Mary Poppins Returns fever is sweeping the nation, the planet. Anyway, the answer obviously was the Grand Floridian Villas. You can find statues of the penguins in the lobby. It's beautiful in there. It opened around October 2013. And again, last week, you aren't just playing for all of my digital products, which include my 102 Ways to Save Money for and at Walt Disney World book, all 7 of my virtual audio walking tours of the Magic Kingdom, one of the new vinyl stickers for your car or laptop, a pop socket for your phone, but I'm also going to send you a set of brand new limited edition Mary Poppins ornaments, a backpack, which I received at the press conference, and I'm also going to send you a hand-signed photo of Richard Sherman, and it's signed, obviously, by Richard Sherman, who obviously not just crafted the music for the original film, but also helped consult on Mary Poppins Returns as well. So last week's winner, randomly selected, is Rebecca Lonsky, or Lonsk, Lonske. Thank you, Rebecca. Congratulations. I'm also going to send you a WDW Radio t-shirt, just because in the spirit of the seasons and all the Mary Poppins goodness. So I have your shipping information because you used the online form. I will get that out to you right away. But if you played last week and didn't win, that's okay, because here's your next chance to enter in this week's Walt Disney World Trivia Challenge. So this week's show is all about looking back and reflecting. And speaking of which, Kungaloosh was a popular, dare I say, important phrase at the Old Adventurers Club in Pleasure Island. May you rest in peace. Now, Kungaloosh is a dessert. So tell me, where can you find the Kungaloosh dessert in Walt Disney World, and obviously order and eat it in Walt Disney World? It's that simple and oh so very delicious. You have until Sunday, January 6th at 11:59 p.m. to go to WDW Radio.com, click on this week's podcast, use the online form there. Once again, I will send you all the digital products, the vinyl sticker, the pop socket, and just for fun, I will also send you a WDW Radio t-shirt as well. So good luck and have fun. That's going to do it, not just for this week's show, but for a year of spending and sharing time together here on the podcast and the blog and on social media and at special events. I cannot thank you enough for truly making 2018 one of the most wonderful and happy and fulfilling and rewarding years of my entire life. You don't realize that your presence simply by listening or sharing on social or emailing me or coming to a meet of the month, you don't understand how impactful that is for me and how that has played such an important part of making this year so special for me and my immediate family and you, my extended family. I hope you look back and smile on the year that was, but more importantly, you begin to grin ear to ear at the year that is ahead. I am so excited for what 2019 is going to hold, and I won't spoil too much, but there are a lot of things that I am thinking about and working on and planning and will be sharing and announcing with you soon. Again, thank you so very much for listening. Thanks to everybody who has been part of not just the community and the family and the Box People group, certainly everybody who is a member of the WDW Radio Nation. I sincerely, sincerely love and appreciate you and the love and the friendship and the support and the help that you bring to WDW Radio. To find out more about the nation, how you can be part of it, take part in some of the exclusive rewards every month, special events, some things we're going to be doing together in 2019 going forward, and more importantly, how you can help the Dream Team Project, which benefits the Make-A-Wish Foundation of America. You can go to www.radio.com/support. And don't forget that if you are new to the show or just haven't checked it out before, please also be part of things beyond the podcast itself. Come join our community on Facebook. Go to www.radio.com/community. That's where I want the conversations, not just about the show, but anything Disney and Marvel and Star Wars related. Come introduce yourself and be part of what we really feel and believe and strive to be a very, very close, fun, friendly, and welcoming community. If you've never joined us, every Wednesday night for the past now 11 years, I broadcast live on Facebook at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. You can find it by going to the WDW Radio page or WDW Radio group on Facebook, or just going to WDW Radio Live. Be sure to turn on notifications and see first, because in addition to going live Wednesdays at 7:30, we'll also go live other times from the parks. I will actually be live the week of January 6th from Marvel Day at Sea Cruise on the Disney Magic Way, which I am so incredibly excited to share with you. Again, the only way to find out when I'll go live is to turn on notifications. Also, check out the WDW Radio blog. We have an amazing team, which I am so grateful for, of incredible writers from every different walk of life. So there's something, whether you are a parent, a solo traveler, a kid, a teen, an adult traveler, an expert, a newbie, everything in between. The blog team does an amazing job of sharing so much wonderful content with you. Of course, this show is by, for, about, and with you. That's why community is so very much the heart of WDW Radio. So I want to hear from you, right? If you have a comment about this week's show, a question you want me to answer on the air, you can email me, lou@wdwradio.com. You can call the voicemail. I want you to be heard on the air. Share your thoughts or your comments. Let me hear that passion in your voice at 407-900-9391. You can connect with me on social. Keep the conversation going there. I am at Lou Mongello on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. Of course, don't forget about the Box People group and the page over on Facebook. I still believe in my little hungry heart of hearts that nothing beats a handshake and a hug. That's now why for 11 years I will continue to do WDW Radio Meets of the Month. Our next is going to be where it all began. It's going to be over Marathon Weekend, Saturday, January 12th from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Tomorrowland Terrace in Magic Kingdom. If you subscribe to our free email newsletter and pay attention to what's going on the Facebook page and group, you'll get notified first about events that are coming up. We still have only two spots left for our October trip to Japan. There's still cabins available for our cruise out of New Orleans in February 2020. We'll also be announcing some other WDW Radio group trips and adventures coming up soon, as well as other events on the road as I travel to speak. If you visit LouMangello.com, you can find out how we can work together and I can come speak to your business, your conference, or school on everything from entrepreneurship to leadership lessons we can learn from Walt Disney, what your business can learn and implement from the Disney parks, pursuing your passion, new media, a variety of topics. Again, go to LouMangello.com. And if I can work with you individually or in small groups to help you turn what you love into what you do, you can learn more about it there. I'll also be announcing and forming a new weekly mastermind group coming up in the next few weeks, as well as more details about my Momentum Weekend Workshop this September and my Momentum Weekend Retreat in Walt Disney World. Again, you can find everything over at LouMangello.com and send me an email if you have any questions. Thanks as always. This could not happen not only without you, but without my partner, my sponsor, more importantly, my friend, Becky Menken, and the entire amazing team over at MouseFanTravel.com. You've heard me say the same thing because the belief and the feeling and the messaging is true now more than ever, that if you are planning to go not just to a Disney destination, but anywhere on the planet, I use and trust, and that's why I can recommend more strongly than ever MEI and MouseFan Travel. If you visit them at MouseFanTravel.com, they will not only help you maximize and save the most amount of money you can on your vacation, but the level of personal service and attention is really what sets them apart. Again, visit them at MouseFanTravel.com. Then go to Celebrations Press, subscribe to Celebrations Magazine, and as always, my friend, and you are my friend, and you've shown that in 2018 more than ever, all I ask is that if you like the show, please help spread the word. Take just a couple of seconds and tweet out that you're listening. Share a link to this or your favorite episode from 2018 with your friends on Facebook or your favorite Facebook group. And if you can, take 30 seconds. That's all it'll take you to rate and review the show over on iTunes. That is one of the best ways to help this community grow. I want to thank some recent reviewers like Cookie JD, who says, I enjoyed so much. The past episodes about moving to Walt Disney World are just two of the many that I've listened to way too many times to admit. Thank you so much for even more wonderful hours of enjoyment. I love them all, but my favorites always seem to be the trips, especially with Becky, and when you get your groups of friends together and family to chat. Beard36 says, Zippity Doodah, Lou has created the best podcast regarding everything Disney with great topics and guests. You'll not only learn and get great tips, but will, for a few minutes, escape to your happy place. Ike2025 says, I love your show. I'm 11 years old. Oh, I dig this already. And am a Disney enthusiast. Stardom early. That's the way. I love your show. And we're listening for 2 or 3 years. P.S. This is Isaac. We met at the Polynesian. Isaac, I remember meeting you at the Polynesian. I dig the fact, and this is one of the reasons why I make sure I do the show completely family friendly, because I want families to be able to listen together. I want kids to be able to listen. You've been listening for 3 years. You're 11, carry the one. Since you're 8 years old, man, I love and dig and appreciate that and hope to see you again. Dunk Foz from the United Kingdom says, I'm saying this with an English accent in my head. But I'm not going to do it. Simply the best Disney podcast around. His enthusiasm is infectious. His knowledge is outstanding. And his guests are always worth a listen. The podcasts make my hour drive to work tolerable. Keep doing what you're doing. And James in ATX says Lou is legendary. Wow. I'm not familiar with the history of Disney podcasts, but I'm pretty sure Lou is one of the founding fathers. Lou loves Disney. It's easy to tell. His knowledge of Disney parks and history is never-ending, and he's able to discuss various topics for hours. I only wish they were even more frequent. Thanks, Lou. Thank you, James. Dunk Ikey, Beard36, and Cookie JD. If you'd like to rate and review the show, you can go to wdwradio.com/iTunes or just search for WDW Radio in iTunes. Finally, most importantly, thank you. I know I sound like a broken record, but you don't know how much you and the show means to me, and I hope that not only has 2018 been a wonderful year for you, but as you look forward, you are excited about the opportunities and adventures and chance for a fresh start, not just on January 1st, but every single day. And I suggest not worrying about setting unreachable goals or overarching resolutions, but just picking one single word that you will intentionally commit to for the future, something to focus on every day, a compass that'll help direct and define where you want to go and the decisions that you make and how you want to live and who you want to be. My single word for 2019 is to simplify. And that is something that I'm going to do in my home and in my business and my personal choices, and in simplifying the amount of material things and space in my head. I'm going to do it through small steps. You've heard me talk about the philosophy of Kaizen, maybe, if you've come to Momentum, as well as some bigger positive changes as well. I want to be more productive and purge and shorten and limit and hopefully get smarter and just be a better person. So I invite you to share what your one word that's going to help define you in 2019 is going to be. And if you want to come share it, you can visit facebook.com/Lou Mongello. I posted an image there and would love for you to comment there. And if I had to take that same sort of one-word thought process and turn it around looking back at 2018, it is one of incredible gratitude, and it's to you, and it's for you. And if there's ever any way that I can repay to you what you continue to give to me, please, please, please let me know. I love you, and I appreciate you, and I sincerely wish you all the best in 2019 and going forward. Have a great week. So until next time, thank you. See ya.
Hi, WDW Radio family. It's Shannon the Elf, calling from the North Pole. I hope everybody had a very Merry Christmas. I want to thank everyone who participated in the 2018 Ornament Exchange. I hope you all had fun. Please be sure to send your person a thank you email or note to stay on Santa's nice list. I've loved seeing everybody's posts in the Box People Facebook group. If you're not part of it, go check it out. All right, time for me to take a little vacation. Have a wonderful day and a very happy New Year. Bye.
Hey, Lou. It's Christine Morrison from Flowertown, PA. It is Wednesday morning, 6:57. Kids just left on the bus. But I was listening to the Mary Poppins review, and I have to say that when I first heard that this sequel was coming out, I was kind of like, really? I don't know. I was kind of not interested in seeing it. I thought this could never compare to the original. But I have to tell you, I don't know how you do it, but you have a talent for interviewing and speaking. And after this episode, I'm actually really excited to see it, because listening to how much work went into this, how much passion, love, respect for the original, I am very, very excited to see this movie. So you do that. I don't know how, but you're pretty amazing. So I just wanted to let you know that I do plan on going to see it now, and I hadn't before I listened to your episode. So have a wonderful week, everybody. Merry Christmas. Make somebody smile. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hey, Lou, it's Kenyon from Rhode Island. We are at Disney World right now. We were the first ones on the first raft to the reopening of Tom Sawyer Island, and it's very nice. I don't notice any changes, but it's very fun to be here. We always bring our picnic lunch here when we come with the family, and it was just fun to be able to be the first ones on the first raft to come and do that. All right, thanks. Take care. Bye.
Hello, Lou Mongello. It's Darlene Nagy calling from West Seneca, New York, and I'm calling in with the countdown. 43 days until I'm back in my happy place. And you have, as of tomorrow, 300 days until the Japan trip. Woo-wee! 52 days until the New Orleans sailing. And I know there's a meet of the month coming up, during Marathon Weekend. So there's a lot of things all coming together in a very short period of time. So everybody have a wonderful, magical weekend. Love and hugs.